we have finally made our way onto the stage now. Again, this draft was just completed in the team rooms beforehand, so players are now just locking in the results of that draft that has already happened. That is why everything is going so quickly. You can see it was Bard, Cassio, and Poppy banned out by Dig. C9 getting rid of Orianna, Vi, and Jace. Dig's first 3 picks. We've got the Lucian Melio bot lane duo alongside Jarvan for some power in the jungle, while C9 is going to run Ezreal and Ryze for some carry potential, and then Lee Sin for Blabber.
Quick analysis already. Neither team opting to go with Mage bot lane. Part of that is just because of the order of the draft. Ezreal is great into Jarvan, and also Tactical played Ezreal in game 1 last series, so it's a high priority pick for them. Lucian Melio, very strong lane to play into that. And then the Ryze is just a Loki special that they want to be able to play the map with well in the mid game.
All right, second half of those bans has already flown by as Vayne and Nautilus are removed from the pool by Dignitas, and Syndra and Annie are also taken out here by C9, who will lock in that support Camille for themselves. I know that earlier this week you made a YouTube video that I saw got a lot of traction, just talking about the state of bot lane mages, talking about the state of why AD carries aren't very happy. I know that support Camille has been a big point of contention in the community recently because of how much she can throw a wrench into the game overall if she gets going. But Gnar is locked in for Dig. They're going to put Palafox on the Twisted Fate. And over on C9's side, Jack, correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe that is a top lane Corki.
That is a top lane Corki. So if people are willing to play AD carries top it like Vayne into Gnar, why not play little old Corki into Gnar?
The Corkster.
I actually think it can work. It's still going to outrange the auto attack of Mini Gnar, and you're going to be able to land some really aggressive trades, and then when he hits Mega, maybe you can just Falco away. I really want to see if Thanatos can stomp with this. The problem, though, is if the Twisted Fate gets a little bit ahead, because he could end that Corki in a side lane. TFs love volatile lane matchups, so it's going to be really important that C9's mid-jungle can put Palafox down in the early game so Palafox can't then go win the side lanes.
And I'm glad you're talking about this, because I feel like the Twisted Fate being locked in goes back perfectly to the conversation that we were having about where do you put the balance between playing for team and playing selfishly when you're Palafox, when you had that good game 1 last week, because you don't play Twisted Fate to say, I'm the Chad, I'm the anime protagonist, I'm going to win the game myself.
It's interesting.
You do it to enable your team, but at the same time, if Twisted Fate falls behind, he's good for kind of nothing?
It's a little bit contradictory to what Palafox said, to be completely honest, because you do need to be reliant on your team as Twisted Fate. You can watch the map and you can see things going, but if those lanes aren't in volatile states that you can impact, you can't impact the lanes. TF can't just ult in to some Mega Gnar that's at full, or some Corki that has the Gnar down to 10% health and expect anything good to happen.
Yeah, I'm very interested for how this Corki is going to go. Perhaps Thanatos is the answer to the prayers of AD carry players all over the server that are sick of being pushed out of their own lane. Maybe the answer is to simply put them more in top side. We'll see how it goes down. Junglers are starting at their own respective Raptor camps, so should be pathing towards opposite sides of the rift as we get going.
Yeah, I just think this is rather interesting. The Balance team has already said that they're going to be buffing AD carries a little bit in future patches. And I do actually wonder if that has something to do with the teams going back to AD carries now, because so many, Emily had some stats on this, when it's actually been AD carry versus Mage, Emily tracked all the tier 1 from the start of the year.
Okay.
In those specific matchups, the AD carries had like a 36% win rate.
Ooh.
Or sorry, the Mages had a 36%.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, that's really bad for the AD carries.
Apologies. That totally wrong stat.
Okay.
The Mages were losing almost 2/3 of the games, but when you watch a lot of these AD carries play Mages, they're just not comfortable on it. But if they're already uncomfortable on it, and then Riot says we're going to be nerfing it anyway, a lot of teams will just drop it. No need to continue practicing it. So there's maybe a little bit of that going on here. Either way, I do expect Vulcan to try and impact this lane early and then leave.
Yeah, exactly. Camille does not get drafted to sit in the lane and play a traditional style of League of Legends. Especially, I feel like when you have a jungler like Lee Sin that can be so effective at making things happen in the early game. Happy if they do happen correctly, but you want to work together with that Lee Sin, particularly like you're talking about. I expect Palafox to be a point of great focus for C9, because attacking the Twisted Fate and setting him behind, making it so he does not feel comfortable enabling those other lanes like you were talking about, trying to go up top and ruin this Corki's plan. If Twisted Fate is so far behind that he cannot bear to lose the 2 waves mid if he tries to do a play in one of the side lanes, you're feeling a lot better.
And already they just toggle the Fog of War. The support is here, supporting the mid lane. A level 2 Vulcan is lying in wait, maybe hoping to get a support or a summoner spell, but no. Just going to have to go back and meet up with his Ezreal in lane.
Exactly. Palafox playing safe, recognizes that Camille is not in bottom lane, does not want to get caught unawares. Rune Prison into a hook shot is a very long amount of CC for just 2 spells, so going to stay cautious on that one. We can see junglers securing both of their respective crabs at pretty much the exact same time, as Blabber will move through mid lane here. You can see XU stepping up, throwing down the ward in the brush next to Blabber's chickens. Hello. XU is going to get spotted out there, so Blabber knows he's around. Sonic Wave Resonating Strike hits. XU just has to walk away, losing out on the trade.
Yeah, push him out of river, but all camps were still respawning. Now he's actually looking to cross. They might end up trading Raptors here, as XU's going to do an evade, but with the additional support, it could be good for C9 if they ended up fighting. I think XU's going to get this for free, though.
Yep, it looks like that's the call here for XU. C9 recognizing, hey, we know what XU wants to do. Let's just take his chickens back, and if for some reason he wants to try to defend them, well, Vulcan's already here, and there's no way that Dignitas is going to prevail in that situation. So now, chicken camps traded. XU still in enemy jungle.
Yeah.
You can see the pings coming out, though. C9 recognizing that they might have an opportunity to try to punish here. The ping did come down on the bush XU was originally in, so he steps into a different brush. Ooh. He does manage to get out just in time. If Blabber would have found him there, that would have been tragedy for the Dignitas jungler, but XU exfiltrates the hot zone.
Yeah, nicely done there by XU. Gets away with one a little bit. Will this be able to go bot and clear his Krugs at pretty much the same timing as Blabber, but has an extra health crystal because of the extra trip to base? Small victories.
And top side here, let's check back in with our quirky counter pick as he just valks forward. Thanatos going in after Denethor. One more shot would take him down, but he does not have the chance to do it because Denethor flashes away. So plus summoner spell now for Thanatos. Denethor going to be much more vulnerable, as now Thanatos can just go ahead, take his recall. Teleport's available for both of our top laners to get right back into the lane.
Yeah, that was all about the wave state at that time. So getting to teleport back in to make sure this wave crashes, and also the fact that Thanatos is in base. I believe Denethor is going to be able to get this in the nick of time, because you can see the Camille running up as well, and he hits level 6. So pretty clutch that Denethor was able to flash out of that one, even though Thanatos did a good job punishing and getting the flash early.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing how this Corki plays going further into the game. We don't really have anything else happening across the map right now. Our first Drake has spawned. Mountain Drake, though, generally more time-consuming to take than the others just because of the innate tankiness of the objective itself. But you can see we do have some focus around this bottom side of the map right now for C9. The next crab has spawned, and Blabber has control over the area as Vulcan, again, just shadowing this Lee Sin, making sure Blabber is free to do as he pleases as the Dragon's Rage is unlocked and Blabber begins the objective.
Yeah, so no crab fight in this one. Blabber just able to take it. I'd say it's been an interesting early game to watch because it feels like Vulcan has just never been in lane, but he hasn't made anything largely positive happen yet, and Tactical hasn't been heavily punished yet as he continues to pressure XU.
Okay, Vulcan does find a quick hookshot stun onto XU there, just trying to harass him as he takes his own chicken camp. Meanwhile, C9 securing that Drake, no contest from Dignitas, and that's the power that the extra crab camp was able to buy for Blabber, hitting the level 6 before XU has it. It just makes that potential 1v1 scenario a nightmare for XU. He moves up again to just take a look towards the enemy Raptor camp, but since Blabber is there, again, it's level 5 versus level 6. The Jarvan wants nothing to do with this.
Yeah, that seemed very risky. Running in towards Blabber, if the Camille was anywhere near, would have been an absolute disaster. So Loki's just going to be able to collect these fruits in the river, stay at full health, keep Palafox pushed in, and I believe they're just going to continue kind of holding these wave states and keeping this Palafox under his turret.
Yeah, Palafox, level 7 here on the Twisted Fate. You can see he's got Catalyst in inventory, so I guess we are going to be seeing more of like that Rod of Ages style build, not one of the riskier builds that just will have more of your potential utility tools early on. Rod of Ages just giving him that extra survivability for things like the Camille, like the Lee Sin that's going to be diving towards you. You're going to need that extra defensive power, as Dignitas still have just a very, very small gold lead overall. when you take into consideration all of the lanes put together. Their biggest leads are down there in the bottom lane, just because FBI and Ignar have been working together well on this tried and true Lucian Melio combo for some lane dominance. Obviously, Palafox has a gold lead of his own, but that's kind of a fake gold lead because it's built into the Twisted Fate kit.
Fake gold. Vulcan makes yet another visit in the mid lane. This time Ignar is matching it out of base. Vulcan not that concerned that he's a level behind Ignar because there is some very generous catch-up experience in the game currently. I can get into a little bit more of that later and get a big deep dive on it. That'll be during the waiting room tomorrow. But here we got Grubbies. Could have a big fight.
Okay, XU has already started up grub number 1, but C9 is sending multiple men to the battlefield. See what they might be able to find here. XU tries to get over the wall, but a Realm Warp is coming in. XU has already used his escape mechanisms, gets kicked over the wall, however, so Blabber sends XU away. Both junglers survive with about 400 HP to speak of. Blabber with a flashback over the wall. Now Vulcan's in danger. Cullen coming out. First blood over to Palafox, deals him a losing hand, and Dignitas do a great job responding to C9 in their faces, coming out on top in the trade, taking a kill. Now they're going to go back for the grubs. FBI's got to be a little bit careful here against Thanatos, but it's Denethor making his way up into the top lane. Thanatos has already used the Valk to get away. Denethor gets the wall up. Meganar back into the wall, hits him with a boulder toss. However, they don't have enough damage to secure the kill. They will at least get the flash back out of Thanatos. Meanwhile, XU going to pick up all 3 grubs and the Scuttle Crab here on the top side. Dignitas is feeling really good after that.
I mean, that was such a good fight for Dignitas. As much as I was mentioning how the catch-up experience isn't going to matter that much for the support, when it's a level 6 versus a level 5 support, it makes a big difference because watch, they try and burst XU as much as possible, but Ignar with the level 6 heals, ults, keeps XU alive, and then because they committed everything into trying to kill the Jarvan, the rest of the team can just collapse. FBI's there before Ezreal is, and Palafox teleports in for that first blood.
So, let me ask. Thoughts on, because FBI had the culling trained on him. Vulcan already flashed. He had no way out. Those bullets would have found him. Do you like the gold more on Palafox for the playmaking across the map, or do you like it more on FBI just for the Lucian that's already hard winning the lane?
I think depending on who you ask, you're going to get a different answer for this. If an AD carry player, they want the gold. I like having it on Twisted Fate because if you can actually get ahead of the game on Twisted Fate and start threatening, like actually being able to push out the Ryze or the Corki side lane, it completely warps the map. Like the Lucian Melio, I think is still going to be able to get 2v2 prio in mid lane based on how that lane is happening, whether or not he gets the kill. But I think if Palafox can get to that Rod of Ages earlier and start getting pushed in side lanes, it's going to make a huge difference on the game.
Particularly when champions like to build Rod of Ages as their first item. I love to see them start off with an extra 1 kill, 2 kills. You know, obviously anybody wants to get as many kills as possible early on in the game, but when we're considering the actual opportunity cost of giving it to someone else, getting yourself to that Roa power spike faster just feels that much more impactful. As you can see, Palafox making that purchase around 10.5 minutes into the game. So at around 20 minutes and 30 seconds, that'll tick over to the 10 stacks, give him the extra +1 on the levels. And we'll make sure that we remember that for 10 minutes from now to see how impactful that spike really becomes. But Dignitas up 1,000 gold as a team right now. 20 seconds until the next Drake spawns, and Blabber is already on the scene.
But I do wonder, is this is going to be Palafox Summer, or is it going to be Palafox Game 1? Because last week, Palafox Game 1 was actually incredible.
It was really nice.
Game 2 and 3. And, you know, just saying, you got to get these positive Dignitas points out while you can. Palafox is looking good so far.
Palafox is looking good.
Ganks from Camille. He's got the first blood. He's in a good state in this game.
The sun is shining bright, but let's see if all 9 clouds roll in and try to blot it out here, as they do have control over this bot side river still. They're going to go ahead and start up the Drake. Ignar, XU, FBI, all approaching, not particularly swiftly. Loki's going to make his way over here on the Ryze now as well. Cozy Campfire already been used. Vulcan diving in here with a hook shot, tries to go in after FBI, who is fighting back. Vulcan gets bursted down first. FBI still staying alive for now. Slowly burning away, but he stays alive, flashing out from Thanatos, but Loki ends up getting the kill. Now XU's going to be picked up. C9 have grabbed themselves a couple of kills, but they did lose Vulcan. It's a 2-1 trade going Cloud9's way as Denethor gets a max range boomerang here with a tactical, looking to chase that Cloud9 AD carry lead down even further. Dignitas now stepping forward with Palafox and Ignar together. Palafox going to go ahead, complete his quest in the middle of the scuffle. Blabber down to 400 HP, trying to get himself away.
Whoa.
There's Denethor going in for the Mega Gnar into the wall up. A little bit more damage onto Thanatos. Ain't quite going to find him, and now Denethor's got to be careful. Palafox looking for the gold card. Finds it onto Blabber.
Oh.
Wild cards fly out, and he finds another kill. Now Ignar's got to try to get away, but Tactical fires off a True Shot barrage that goes a little wide. Palafox is trapped in Rune Prison, and it's a life sentence. Loki goes on a killing spree. Cloud9's up 4-3.
They get the kill advantage in that fight, but Drake is still alive. That was a very aggressive recontest by Dignitas there, because it was actually a 3v4, but Dignitas tried to use the timing of the Mega Gnar to make this turn happen. We're going to watch the original engage, which was very brute force from C9. It's the second time they've just tried the straight Camille ult into Ryze ult, and doing that into Melio can actually be very dangerous. However, Thanatos comes in at the end, manages to pick up the kill, and the extra sustained damage from having 280 carries I think really prevailed here. And then here's the re-engage. Big reach for them, but they really just don't quite have the damage. They didn't miss anything in that engage. Luckily, Palafox does actually get Blabber with the tail end of these wild cards, but Vulcan had actually then respawned, and it kind of becomes a 3v5 at that point, and he eventually falls.
Yep. Very, very good to grab the kill onto Lee. Otherwise, that feels kind of disastrous. Unfortunately, that extra 100 HP on Thanatos is the difference between feeling really good about a play and feeling like it was all right, I guess. Denethor now under pressure, 1 versus 3. How does he navigate these situations? Goes for the wall up onto the wave, but no, sir. Not enough damage just yet. Does get one back. Eventually, though, that turret heated up quick enough to make that a 1-for-1 trade. Vulcan drops again, trades his life for Denethor. C9 still up about 1,000 gold.
And here's actually a really interesting thing about catch-up experience right there. Since he had a 3-level advantage on Vulcan, he's getting 40% less experience for that kill, which is already less experience because he killed a level 7. Meanwhile, Vulcan gets 40% more experience for that kill assist.
He's so high.
Because he killed him. So it's like a super good trade up from the catch-up mechanics, even if getting 1 kill in a 3-for-1 dive feels kind of good. He got barely anything for it. Not only was Vulcan low experience, he was also already 0-2, so he's not even worth gold. It has actually like a good death for Vulcan.
And looking at experience across the board, you can see in 4 out of 5 roles, we are essentially tied with nearly equal standings in EXP. The exception is the top lane, where Thanatos is a level and change above Denethor here with his Corki, as now danger in the bottom lane for Palafox is likely to be yet another kill. Yeah. It's another death for Vulcan, but he does not care. It's what you're talking about. I'm level 7, you're level 11. We're both dead. My funeral service is better.
Yeah, he gave over 183 gold to Palafox. Who cares? And like no experience. Essentially, he's worth like 2 cannon minions, or sorry, 2 melee minions of experience when he dies there because of the 4-level gap. That's a 60% reduction in experience for Palafox on killing Vulcan. It's crazy.
Yeah, that is just easy. Vulcan is happy to keep throwing himself into the blender over and over and over again. It's Vulcan soup, and unfortunately, it's the only thing Dignitas have to eat. It's not particularly tasty, as we've got the Rift Herald started up here by Dignitas now. Remember, they already secured 1 of the 2 Drakes and all 3 of the Grubs, so they are leading in neutral objective control thus far, but Blabber's going in, potentially looking to make a play. However, it's C9 well morphing onto the left side immediately of the Herald. Gold card back onto Blabber. He takes a big chunk of damage, loses about 2/3. Herald is going to lose all its patience. So back to full HP goes Shelly. C9 and Blabber still hanging around for now, but they decide to disengage it with Blabber chunked out.
Yeah, Blabber's going to want to heal up a little bit on that jungle. And it's kind of crazy. Like, that gold lead just expanded right there because Vulcan's deaths meant nothing, and the kills that C9 was getting meant something. So suddenly, they're up like 2,000 gold because they were getting plates and turrets off of those dives as well. And suddenly, they're in like a really good mid-game state.
Yeah, and this is 2,500 gold lead now with that turret that just got taken as you were making the 2,000 gold point. And remember, this is 2,500 gold lead that's actually smaller than it would initially appear. It's the same thing that we were talking about earlier with, we're like, yeah, Palafox has a gold lead, but it's kind of fake. That also means that the enemy gold lead, you kind of have to bump it up a little bit because the gold is built into Twisted Fate's kit as part of how he's balanced. So this really feels like about a 300 gold lead, or 3,000, excuse me, gold lead for C9.
And Loki being at 4-0 is excellent for C9's game. It means he's going to be able to continue to not only have good sustained damage at team fights, but also be able to win on side. And everyone is really, this feels like a bit of a call to crab to me. It's a worthless mid-game crab, minute 30 seconds till Drake, but everyone is there just in case.
They know. They know. Blabber is on the side of the map with a crab. There's always potential for something to happen. Nothing will happen this time around as C9 secures that one without Dignitas doing much about it. We do have that same gold lead here still for C9. Another 75 seconds, though, and the next Drake of the game will spawn. Only 1-1 on Drakes, so truly, this next one does not matter. Nobody's going to feel an extreme amount of pressure if you give this away. So I think particularly for Dignitas, when you're 3,000 gold down 17 minutes into the game, a fight on neutral territory, a fair fight, can feel very daunting. It might be an easy one to just say, nah, we'll try again 5 minutes from now.
It's true, and I do think that it's a weird mix of team compositions here, right? Because a lot of times you'd say the Enchanter support will win front-to-back fights as FBI tries to really burn everything to kill Tactical. However, the Enchanter team is the team with Twisted Fate, who's then not as good in front-to-back fights. So I think the front-to-back fights end up being pretty even, as Loki's very strong.
Yeah, Loki's strong. XU already lost half HP here, and he might lose even more. Last overload doesn't quite find him. Blabber jumps back over the wall, trying to get himself away. However, the immediate disengage with the Dragon's Rage. Blabber rejoins the rest of C9. And now they will head right back into that Herald pit yet again. 18 minutes on the clock, and Herald's still not taken. Pretty late timer overall, to be quite honest, as Denethor and Palafox are going to step up. Vulcan goes in. Denethor taken very low. He has no Narbar. XU's in the middle of everybody, but he just immediately dies. The Hextech ultimatum traps him inside as Thanatos makes his way forward, but is immediately stopped there with a gold card. C9 are going to get that objective as well as take XU off the rift.
Yeah, really well-played fight there by Vulcan. He dodged the big engage from Dignitas with his ultimate, because I understand why Dignitas was at least looking for a fight there. They had mid-prio, and Tactical was essentially cut off, but without Lucian's culling, a little bit difficult to actually play at the correct range, and XU ends up dying for it.
Yep, XU out of there also means that there's no opportunity for Dignitas to try to take the Dragon while C9 were on their recall after the Rift Herald play. So C9 can go ahead, go back, heal up, make their purchases. You can see Sundered Sky and Eclipse, 2 fully completed items now for Blabber, as C9 can head back out onto the map. The Dragon's still available to fight for. And so once more, Dignitas are in the spot where it's like, okay, do we really want to fight for this? And the answer is probably no, as the bottom lane tier 1 also knocked down by Loki as he continues pushing forward.
Yeah, he's going to be completing his Seraphs soon as well. Actualizer will likely be item 3, so Loki's starting to take control of the side waves here. Dignitas, I think, has no business contesting this Drake, but Thanatos goes in.
Yeah, because remember, FBI had already used his flash earlier to force the flash out of Tactical. You had mentioned it. So they see the opportunity. Thanatos goes in, tries to full send after FBI. That last rocket doesn't hit him, so FBI stays alive thanks to his barrier. But C9 continues trying to keep the pressure on Dignitas here. They're going to immediately summon up the Rift Herald in mid lane. The charge plus the extra damage from Ezreal alongside Lee Sin will get this thing very low. Might not be able to finish it off here entirely just yet, as XU is around to defend. We'll go ahead and walk away, head towards the Scuttle Crab now. As topside, you can see Palafox at least took the tier 1 out up there, but it's still a 3,000 gold lead for C9. Palafox is about to hit 10 stacks here on his Rod of Ages. 20 minutes, 30 seconds. I said we would check in and see how impactful that is. And unfortunately, there's nothing to fight for right now. So it's not like this is happening right as there's about to be a dragon fight, right as there's about to be a big play. So it doesn't ultimately end up being as powerful as it could have been with that early gold on Palafox converting into an earlier Rod.
Definitely not. And I want to go back to what I talked to Blabber about before the game, where they said last week against Team Liquid, kind of the 15 to 20 minute stage of the game, they just weren't playing with their tempo well. And I think they are playing much better with their tempo here. So even that last sequence, like, yes, Palafox was getting the top lane turret for free, but then what did Cloud9 get in return? They broke bottom, they took Drake, they were one true shot barrage or one big one away from killing FBI in mid lane, and they collected a bunch of plates. So they collected the mid and the bot side of the map for the numbers advantage that was created by Palafox not being there. And it's just like the continuous run of plays like that, a lot of them were just Vulcan sacrificing his life over and over again, ended up being very positive for them overall.
And I feel like that's something that we see a lot, particularly when we play against, okay, never mind, hold on, we don't have time for that. Loki getting dove on here. The burst of the Cloud9 mid laner is good. Shutdown credit over to XU as Dignitas make their move. They spring the trap, and the kill onto Loki is worth a lot of money.
You can have all the tempo in the world, but if you walk in 1v5, you're still going to lose.
Yeah,
so
the numbers game.
Got a little bit lost at the very start of that to see how Loki was there, because I feel like the TF ult came in even after the fact, like after they had already been killing Loki. So big misplay there for a Rise that was in a very fed state.
Yeah, we're going to have to go back, take another look at that one here in a moment or so. But Loki certainly not going to be happy with that outcome. Almost had his level 10, or 10 stack, excuse me, there on the Rod of Ages for the extra level, as Ignar will be forced to flash away. Vulcan continuing to put on pressure here with these Camille hook shots. And unfortunately for Dignitas, the kill is really just a kill. They don't translate it into a whole lot else across the map, but here's the pick. Oh, this was... Oh, that is a terrible route.
He's in there.
Wow, that is...
Yeah,
Ooh,
potentially he thought that they were going to overcommit, and then they had like a 4v4.
Oh, take a deep breath, Vic. I feel like you're pressuring everyone a lot.
Vic is FBI right there, so XU trying to keep the team a little bit calm there. It was after a winning fight, but it was actually FBI who created that play in the first place. We'll have to track how well they play together for the rest of the game.
Yeah, and that Loki Realm Orb, I don't know, man. I gotta criticize.
Not good.
Yeah, no, I gotta criticize it. I definitely feel like even if you were thinking maybe they're gonna overcommit here, the send your Rise in alone on an infiltration mission just feels a little overzealous, we'll call it. Audacious, perhaps.
It's always one of those things, like, when someone makes a really in play, I can still kind of guess what they were thinking was going to happen.
Right,
It doesn't make it good.
You can be like, all right, I can see a world where maybe 1 in 100 times this works out or whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't really think it's the play, as Tactical eats a lot of damage there from the culling, does have to use his flash to get away, but now Vulcan may be the sacrifice instead. No! C9 with a beautiful job, turning it right back around onto XU as the True Shot Barrage flies through, finds damage onto the Dignitas carries. Now that one I can at least say, all right, I see what you were trying to do. You didn't quite have the damage. It turns around and gets punished instead.
Yeah, that's happened a couple of times with XU when trying to kill Vulcan right there. Hextech Ultimatum buying a lot of time. Then also the Camille passive giving him that shield, not to mention the Sundered Sky. It just makes him sneakily tanky. And then since XU dove beyond the area with which his team could follow up, he ends up falling again. That would have been a really big pick for them, but now XU no Cataclysm, and likely won't even make it back for the spawn of Drake, as Palafox kind of just seems like he's going to take care of himself here, get some gold in the top lane. I don't think they're going to be able to contest this Drake.
Yeah, Palafox still working towards that rapid fire cannon, and it's a big utility power spike for Twisted Fate. The amount of pick potential you have kind of skyrockets once you have the item, so that might be the opportunity that Dignitas is waiting on to start making some plays. Fortunately,
We can look.
Yeah. Can we look to send it on mid here? Can you force it E?
Yeah, I'm looking at it.
Looking mid.
Hat flash.
Can be good.
Yeah, I'm just...
I'm going to ult Camille. Nice.
Nice. Oh, he's dead. Good. Wait. Longing for it now.
I pushed top.
Yeah.
Nice.
W rage bait.
W rage bait.
Bait.
Okay.
Kill the Ezreal! Rage bait!
You can always count on C9 to have whatever the current meme brain rot meta is.
Yeah.
C9's going to be on top of it. That is one of our long-standing traditions here in the LCS. But, okay, Palafox with Rapid Fire Cannon, this could be what they're looking for. What I was saying before the comms is it actually pays off really well for Dignitas getting one of those early first 2 dragons, because it means Cloud9 doesn't have Soul now, and Dignitas did not have to fight before they had their Rapid Fire Cannon available.
Yep, and there's not really a tank on the side of C9, so whoever you gold card, as long as you don't hard commit.
And there it is, Flash gold card coming out. They're going after Tactical, but the follow-up damage isn't there. Vulcan's doing a great job body blocking, but no, Tactical does finally die. Vulcan going to be your next target now as XU flashes over the wall, keeping himself alive at the same time. Palafox does die on the Dignitas side. Denethor moving forward, goes in for Loki. Meganar with a wall of follow-up. That Seraph's Embrace isn't going to matter. The sweet embrace of the fountain is all that awaits the mid laner for C9. Dignitas, I said, is rapid fire cannon going to be what does it? And sure enough, it is. Palafox with the flash engage, the rest of the team ready to follow up, and Dig get a pretty big win.
They collect 3-4-1. Let's watch this one more time as Palafox just flash, stuns, XU does hard commit in, and then Palafox re-engages as XU finishes him off. Honestly, that follow-up from Palafox, what actually cost them? They had the kill clean. As the fight continues, though, Denethor with beautiful Meganar timing, flashes to get the stun and the CC lock onto Loki to make the 3-4-1. I think they could have tried to force Baron there. but Blabber would have had the potential to steal it. Instead, they just keep their tempo, they counter jungle, and they're back to fight again.
Yeah, I think Baron's probably scary with XU being as low as he was and Blabber being there like you're saying. Denethor, though, also in a scary spot. About to go Mega. Needs a little bit more time. Wallop immediately into the Mega Gnar, putting a lot of damage into Blabber, but as soon as Thanatos arrives, any hope dies. C9 finally get that one. I'm going to call that a 2.5 V1 because Thanatos only shows up at the very end, but it still certainly counts. So they'll get that pick there onto Denethor. That is 40 seconds without the Gnar.
Yeah, the other thing that counts, though, is Palafox burned his TP to support that play.
Ooh.
If Palafox was just playing for himself there, that top wave would be into the turret, and they'd be able to at least keep the tempo with how much C9 invested in that kill. With Palafox going down there, though, C9 is going to take much more control of the map.
Yeah, we have the biggest individual... Hold on, we don't have time to talk about gold here at first.
Connection.
Gold card onto Tactical. Calling over the wall. Blabber absorbs about half of it, lets the damage spread between himself and Tactical, so nobody is super low. But yeah, we've got the biggest individual gold lead here for Thanatos over Denethor. 3-0 and 4 on the Corki with a plus 50 in terms of farm. 3 fully completed items now with the LDR also finished. So top lane Corki doing pretty well. Maybe if you're out there and you're watching today, you're thinking, I'm going to go play some solo queue later, but I'm an AD carry player and bot lane's infested by these filthy mages.
Top lane.
Maybe just bring it up into top lane. You know, change that little symbol at the bottom. What role you're queuing up for? Maybe take it top lane. Seems like Thanatos has this figured out. It's working pretty well here so far. But the other big gold lead, Jat, is support. Vulcan on his 1, 5, and 8 Camille. He has Sundered Sky. He has Zeke's. He has Bloodsong. He actually has a competent inventory of items.
Yeah, he's pretty tanky, too. I mean, 2-level advantage for Thanatos as well. You can play Corki up there, you can play Vayne up there, you can play Trist up there. Anyone who has that kind of natural, you can play Teemo up there. I know it feels kind of cheap, but it does kind of feel like an AD carry.
It's a ranged auto attack.
I mean, if you want to have an impact in the game as a top laner, the game generally has to be close, and then you can take over as Palafox gets hit.
Oh, yeah, Vulcan immediately diving in. The Twisted Fate is long gone. Nice engage coming out there from C9, but Dignitas want to get something back. Nice Cataclysm into the Mega Gnar onto Loki. They take out the enemy mid laner, but now Vulcan's going to try to get himself away. FBI has been killed, and Dignitas is nothing but a graveyard. XU may have gotten a double kill, but he's lost every man that stood beside him. Thanatos, Tactical, and Blabber all still alive here on the map. Thanatos going to take the TP down into bottom lane to make a second point of pressure as Tactical pushes the tier 2 over in mid. C9 looking to take multiple objectives for this victory. There is 10 seconds on the clock until the Ocean Soul spawns. Nobody on Dignitas should be alive for this one.
I got the push. I want to play mid wave, and if they go bot side, we play Baron. Just trust me, okay?
I want to base with Lee Sin here.
Yeah, we're basing now, and when they go mid Baron, Drake, we ultimate Baron.
Sure.
I can flash on TF, guys.
Yeah.
I'm okay.
Fighting.
Nice, coming.
One shot.
Me and Ezreal a bit far. Kite back. Me and Ezreal a bit far.
Canning. Yeah. Look me.
I'm looking.
Okay, flash. It's good fight. It's good fight. No flash.
Yeah, I'm looking. Lucian. Yeah, I'm looking.
You can see them trying to make the plan right there, and then Vulcan with the decisive engage, and it's such good timing for C9 on that, making the Dragon Soul uncontestable and really putting them in a position to win this game.
Yeah, the Ocean Soul for free just feels so strong too, especially because we've seen plenty of times where Palafox will go in, he'll get one of these gold cards, maybe they follow it up with a culling or something, they chunk somebody down by about half, maybe 2/3 of their health. That doesn't matter anymore now that you have the Ocean Soul, as Ignar is trapped inside the Hextech Ultimatum. Blabber goes in ready to follow it up. Loki's in the middle of everybody, and Loki dies again. This Rise positioning is not what C9 wants it to be. FBI and Dignitas doing a beautiful job fighting back as XU occupies Tactical off to the side. Loki's Rise has a death wish this game, and Dignitas are happy to grant it.
But on top of that, Thanatos also got CC locked, so 2 of the 3 main carries get blown up in this fight, and now Vulcan and Tactical are going to try and save this Baron by themselves.
They're trying to do it. XU has Guardian Angel, so even if they try to pop the Jarvan, that's not full loss of the smite for the Dignitas side. C9 know they won't be able to do anything about this, and Dignitas are keeping themselves in this game.
I think this last fight was pretty goofy. I think the game was over. I think Loki was 4-0. Now he's 4-4. They don't necessarily have the numbers right at the start, but they think they can brute force it. I mean, Hextech Ultimatum gets burned on Camille. Then Loki is just one shot, and then watch Thanatos on the top side. Valks into the Jarvan ultimate into a Mega Gnar stun. That's how you'd love that synergy to work. Two really fed solo laners get one shot.
Yeah, you could work your whole life to be the most powerful bodybuilder of all time, but if you walk in the middle of the highway, you're not going to beat a car. And that's kind of what the C9 solo laners were doing in that team fight. I have no idea what is going on there, man. All right, so C9 obviously going to have to shake the dust off of that one. They got knocked down in the dirt, and Dignitas have to be feeling a bit of a revitalization here, right? Like, this is a game that looked like it was all said and done, and now Dig have the Baron. They've got plus 1,300 gold in the Red Bull Baron power play. They've still got another minute and a half, a little bit more even, to utilize this control, this power over the map. And they're going to push up as a unit down here in the bottom lane. Palafox is the one split from everybody else. Realm Warp coming in. Loki trying to bring only Blabber this time. Blabber goes for the kick, finds it on the FBI. The Lucian staying alive for now. Vulcan tries to chase him down, but no, FBI goes on a rampage. The Realm Warps for C9 have been a disaster. Denethor goes in on top of everybody, and C9 may just die. All five are gone. Dignitas get the ace.
It's a 5 for 3, and they still have Baron. 33 seconds on Blabber's Lee Sin, 22 seconds on the Camille. I don't think they're going to be able to end. What a re-engage there by Denethor on Gnar to make this one happen. And Blabber is just way ahead of the team again.
Yeah, it's a Realm Warp. It looks like multiple C9 players are going to take the Realm Warp, go for the big engage, but only Blabber goes through. Blabber gets exploded. Let's take another look at how it happens.
So, Blabber just is the one brave soul to take the Realm Warp, and it's not a good one. He does kick FBI though, so you think they're gonna get it, but then the Melio barely keeps FBI alive long enough so that they can continue the fight, and then kind of with his dying breath, Denethor flashes into the turret, but lands a 3-man Gnar ultimate into a 3-man follow-up stun. Tactical at the end, kind of saves the game, killing 2 players.
Thought they were all dead.
To be fair, Denethor, they are.
Oh,
they were all dead. They got the ace. Unfortunately, if Denethor and XU, who were both very low when they re-engaged, were somehow able to stay alive, I think the game could potentially end right there.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. Dignitas still in it. Dignitas, chat, now at a gold lead.
That's crazy. The Ocean Soul is still going to make me think that C9 is a little bit ahead, but then the fact that nobody's a tank means anyone can just get one shot. We did have stats remind us of something as Loki continues to fly in and die and also fly his jungle in to die. He's 0-7 in his Rise career.
Wait,
he's
really?
never won a pro game on Rise. Yeah, 0% win rate in 7 games.
Wowee.
Surprising, right?
Yeah. I would.
Less surprising while watching this game unfold, but surprising based off of what we'd expect.
Seeing the information ahead of me, obviously I believe it. It's right there on the screen.
Yeah.
But if somebody just randomly said that in a conversation, like, hey, man, do you know that Loki has actually never won any of his 7 games on Rise? That sounds unbelievable.
Like, that's made up. Yeah, they put it in the prompter, and I'm like, did they mean 7-0? I had to go check. And it is 0-7. Our stats man Liam is never wrong.
Well, Loki, you're going to have to get one in the win column here if you want to stop the Dignitas comeback. I feel like this goal difference is actually very indicative of just the flow overall of this game. That giant trough of red there, right around the 30-minute mark, that was when they got the Ocean Soul. Yeah. That's when they looked like the game was all said and done.
They drank enough Ocean Drakes. They're imbued with overconfidence. And they're just flying in, thinking that they're invulnerable. But they still do have the Ocean Soul, and they're looking to one-shot someone here in the mid lane. They've been using the Camille ultimate well. The fights that have gone well is when they've gone on to Palafox. But Palafox now has Zhonya's. FBI now has Guardian Angel.
Yes.
And Denethor is very tanky on the Gnar.
Yup, double GA plus the Zhonya's over on the other side. Not quite the same things to speak of. You have the Guardian Angel on Blabber. You have Seraphs on Loki, but that is not a stasis, so could still be bursted down very, very quickly. As we also do have the Guardian Angel on Denethor with about 1/4 of the cooldown still yet to go, so will not have that available for this fight, for this Elder. Whole game can come down to this. Nice true shot barrage there from Tactical, but the cozy campfire of Ignar is ready to warm those health bars right back up. Flag from XU over the wall just to make the Dragon a little bit angry, get him puking towards C9's direction. As there's your Twisted Fate ulti, Palafox. He sees C9, everybody all grouped up together. Another Realm Warp's coming in now. It's Blabber going into the back line. Thanatos just dies. These Realm Warps are terrible! Cloud9 have sent themselves into the maw of death time and time and time again, and their chances have finally run out. Dignitas with the punish. They wait for Cloud9 to give them the game, and they accept with arms wide open. Dig with the 5-man push towards the enemy Nexus. These Nexus turrets are not going to do anything to defend. Nobody will be able to help Blabber, and Tactical hold on with this one. Dignitas are just padding their stats at this point. Blabber, he's got the Guardian Angel. He's trying to waste their time. He's not gonna succeed. Dig start this series 1-0.
Thanatos, so you know, I don't think they should read too much into what happened with draft, but I also think if I'm C9's coaches, I think I'm going simple. I think I'm going standard. I'm just gonna play something that is easy to play front to back. Draft a strong lane for Thanatos, like they're playing last pick, so get counter pick for Thanatos. You have Thanatos versus Denethor, who is a rookie. You know, play something that has multiple forms of engage, pretty easy. And I think you just have to rely on the fact that your players should be better pound for pound.
Yeah. One note I do want to bring up as people are seeing the draft, this is NA. If you're wondering why you're seeing NA test, they are still drafting in order, but it's just to basically expedite the draft process. So when they go out on stage, they can just draft under their own names. But if you're wondering why you are seeing that, that is why they're still drafting in their order. And we see the Victor locked in for Dignitas, could be going mid. No. I actually think it's going bot for FBI. And then on the flip side, we see the Ziggs Nautilus locked in. Presumably, I'm going to say for Tactical.
Yeah, and we're seeing some psychopathic supports that are going to be roaming around the map. I think when you went through your presentation earlier today, and you're talking about the fact that supports have catch-up XP, this is the one thing I definitely want changed. So you can talk about your opinions when it comes to mage bot lanes and AD carries and all that stuff, whatever you want. I think the fact that you were seeing supports moving around level 1, level 2, level 3, unperturbed and unpunished is the one thing that pisses me off. So like we will see the Nautilus and of course Leona probably pretty active. I actually really like Trundle here a lot. I mean, Trundle is both a really good matchup in his Zin's out. It's very difficult for Zin to actually do anything. You charge in, Trundle can just pillar you in and win the man fight head up. Yeah. And also you can steal a lot of resistances from Leona, you know, with the W, especially if Leona's playing, you know, Aftershock. True. That can be pretty devastating. It dissuades some of the strong blind pick tanks as well. If you're thinking you're going to counter pick for Thanatos, some of the best blind picks are tanks, which you're going to be less likely to want to play because the Trundle's in the game. So I feel like it's a really good pick for a lot of different reasons. Yeah, I like the Trundle a lot. Interesting to see that C9, they still aren't completely sure where the Victor is going, so they're still taking out the Sivir. Yeah, and then on the flip side, even with the heavy nerfs the Varus has had, I would still take Varus out. Because if I'm Dignitas, I think it would be nice to actually have Varus within this comp and deal with the range advantage that you have versus like a comp like Trundle. And sure, Ziggs would be an issue, but I'm generally pretty happy trying to switch away from the composition and deal with like more range with Victor Varus and dealing with Trundle. I think that's like a nice response. The Vayne ban to me says that they're thinking about playing Renekton because obviously Nar's already gone. That's one of the matchups that really can be quite difficult. Yeah. And then you know, the other one that is commonly played into pro is obviously Renekton, and then things like Sion. So could be either of those angles, but I don't think you're thinking about Sion when Trundle's already in. So Vayne to me is just kind of setting up for a safer blind pick, and we'll see if they want to do like double bans top to try to really protect. And so they're actually going to ban the Renekton as well. Wow. So now I'm kind of like, okay, are you going Sion or something then? Yeah. But you're opting into Sion against Trundle, which is never great. So I'm kind of curious to see if that's going to be the angle that they actually want to go for. Another pick that's available suspiciously is the Rumble, and I don't think you want to pick Rumble into Mbessa. But the Mbessa now being locked in for Thanatos, one of his best picks. So I'm interested now. It seems like there's a lot of comfort from C9 side, which makes sense being down a game, wanting to be able to find something to secure a win. Yeah, I mean, it is strong. Renekton's the common answer. And the fact that Renekton is banned kind of lets them go this, and then also lets them find out, is it going to be Victor bot or mid? It is going to be Victor bot. Akali is mid, so now they get to have, you know, a pretty strong pick top, and they get to have counter pick mid, so it does make some sense. Yeah, I mean, I will say we have seen all three of these champions flex bot. But I agree, I do think it's going to be Victor bot, Akali mid.
as we see the final.
And it's interesting, because if there's,
Okay.
Silas, so it's going to be Loki Silas pick. This is going to be so fun watching the Akali versus Silas matchup, and specifically, I think watching Palafox's Akali, especially when he sees the Ziggs, this is something that he oftentimes will look towards and finding assassin options versus control mages and try and play sides. So I'm expecting Dignitas is trying to play Xin Zhao, Akali on side, see if they can catch either Silas or Ziggs, basically. I think it's a nice composition from Dignitas that plays to their strengths.
Yeah, Silas feels pretty strong here, though. There's a lot of good ults to steal. Leona ult's really good. Victor ult's good. Like, even Akali and Crescent Guard aren't bad. I feel like still, Trundle seems like a giga pick, and I feel like C9 has pretty easy ways to start fights and to play sides. You have Ziggs for wave clear mid, obviously to match the Victor. And Mbessa plus Trundle, I feel like beats any 2v2 really that Dig has.
Yeah, they've done the exact.
I kind of like C9's comp more.
I vastly prefer C9's comp.
Yeah.
Even though I talked about comfort, it's like they did the exact opposite of what I wanted.
They're going to be comfortably losing.
It's like, I would like range. No, we're committing to the dive. Akali, Aatrox, Xin Zhao, Leona, so like, maybe they'll be able to find options on Mbessa on side or anything like that, but I think C9 is going to be really happy playing a 5v5 group dub.
Yeah, I mean, I just also think, like, as we covered with mages in the bot lane at the very start of the day, I think it's Ziggs, like, Giga S tier, and then a lot of the other mages, like, behind him, just because I also think that AD carry players like this, when I was talking about, APA, if APA was in, he and Tactical can play picks, I think Tactical can play Ziggs, right? And this is exactly what I was thinking of previously. And I also really love the Silas pick here. Like, I think that's just such a great last pick into what Dig have prioritized in their draft.
I mean, when you're looking at both comps are 4 melee champions plus a mage, right? I think Victor is just way easier to get on than the Ziggs is with Satchel and with the additional range. So I think we prefer the C9 side of it. Casters, what do you think?
Thank you very much, Lounge. I feel like we were having a very similar conversation right now because there's just a lot that C9 has to counter the melee-heavy champs on Dig.
Absolutely. I also think Tactical is a good Ziggs. I've seen him play it really well. He was playing this in 2021 before mage bots were a thing when TL wanted to play towards top side. So also love the Trundle into the Leona and the Xin. And then if I'm thinking about how Dig wins with Palafox playing, quote, selfishly, I don't love the things that he's up against. Like, maybe he can find some kills on his Ziggs, but if Loki gets ahead on Silas or Thanatos gets ahead on Mbessa, I think it's going to be real tricky.
Right, exactly. You don't have AD carry plus control mage mid to try to find those reliable assassinations on, so Palafox's job will be more difficult than usual. As you guys can see, players on the stage now still having to do these two-part type of drafts, so we'll be getting onto the Rift ASAP. But I feel like the big thing, we got to talk about it. Everybody in the discussion thread's talking about it. People in the Twitch chat are talking about it. We're talking about it. Cloud9 should have won the first game. I am not going to take anything away from Dignitas for being able to stay focused and coordinated enough to punish the mistakes that C9 made and come back. But by God, not all mistakes are created equally, and C9 chained them together back to back to back to back to back, and they were all named Realm Warp. The team has to have that type of conversation behind the scenes and say, no more of this. I want to see whatever C9's communication was in game number 1. I don't ever want to see another word of it ever again, because that was not correct League of Legends.
No, I don't think that was the plan either. I kind of refuse to think it was the plan, especially in that last fight. And I know they went over it, the Lounge went over it with the replay file. Thanatos stopping inside the Realm Warp that then takes him into 5 players as a level 20 really fed Corki to instantly die. When they have Ocean Soul and they can just slow play it and can try to continue poking.
Yeah, just poke.
Completely acknowledge as well, like the rapid fire cannon Twisted Fate, very difficult to deal with when you don't have tanks. But they were far ahead in that game, and then Realm Warp after Realm Warp put them further from winning. So that's going to increase the pressure on Cloud9 because it's all well and easy to say that it's just the regular season and we're looking to improve, but especially for Loki and Tactical, who are still in the tryout phase for C9. They are still running the 7-man roster, and they've lost all 3 games, and they really expected to, I think you expect to walk over Dignitas.
Yeah. that's the huge part for me is because, you know, you're saying, yeah, it's just regular season or whatever. Remember, regular season is a single round robin. You play each other team once. And if the expectation when you're going up against Dig is that everybody has these guys power ranked bottom 2, if you're one of the teams that's expected to go to Worlds, which I think a lot of people probably expect C9 to, at bare minimum, be in the contest for Worlds, then you should have your scheduled win against Dignitas. And if that turns into a loss, you already pointed it out earlier, C9 lost their first regular season series in almost a year and a half just this past weekend against Team Liquid, and Dignitas has not won a series against anyone in the LCS since the beginning of February back in lock-in. So this would be quite the upset here in terms of North American League of Legends if Dignitas could clutch this up. Now remember, so far, Game 1 has gone very similarly to Game 1 of last week, where Sentinels was winning for a very long time. Dignitas managed to come back, and they get the Game 1 dub. Then they lose the next 2 games. Game 1 kind of went exactly the same way for Dig, and now they have to change their fates and do what they have not been able to do all throughout spring. Take that momentum from getting a lead in the series and finish strong.
Let's see if they can do it. We got triple TP on both sides. Going to be a lot of teleports coming in throughout this game. Last game, Vulcan on the Camille was out of lane constantly, whereas FBI and Ignar were slowly getting fairly small advantages. Now, we got a couple of roamers on both sides, and I feel like that's more what Ignar actually wants to do. Like, Ignar winning on Melio was very surprising. He's normally the guy that doesn't win on the Enchanters, so he's more in his comfort zone here.
Plus, you want to hop in a time machine for a second? Go back about a decade. Ignar Fervor of Battle Leona. This man is one of the original Chad Leona players. He knows this champion. He has a special relationship with this champion in competitive play, unleashing strategies that other people were not ready for at the time. So we'll see how well he can do it this time. You mentioned both of these guys are playmakers. They can set things up with their heavy CC. Neither one of them has quite the mobility of Camille, being able to hook shot all around the map. So I don't expect either one to be quite as active and constantly on the move as Vulcan was in the first game, but I do expect them to both try to be making those moves, especially with the, I always call this the World's 2022 matchup in mid lane, Akali versus Sylas. It was the meta during that entire competition. It was the head-to-head that you saw all the time, and it can get very volatile very quickly. Both melee champions, both of them can be punished if they go too far. Both of them prime targets for these support roams.
They absolutely are. Thanatos already also getting some shove in onto Denethor in the top lane. Even though he wasn't impactful in the later fights, Thanatos was wildly far ahead of Denethor from the laning phase, just couldn't translate it. And Denethor was able to get some really good Meganars and Meganar ultimates off in team fights.
And I feel like that's a really interesting thing to talk about with Denethor specifically, because yeah, the individual gold lead for Thanatos was massive in that game. Plus like, what, 3,000, 4,000, something similar to that. But for Denethor, a guy who at the beginning of the day here, you were talking about his nerves in week 1 were so engaged, I guess we'll call them, that he accidentally made the wrong purchases. Hold on, here in the bottom lane, we got Vulcan taking a little bit of damage, but he's leading the charge at the same time. As soon as Blabber shows up, FBI is troll food, and Blabber's taking the first blood.
And they give the kill over to Blabber as well. They had kind of any option to give it to Tactical or Blabber, but he made the journey there. Let's reward the jungle for coming here. All started with a perfect backward satchel charge by Tactical. So nicely done here by Vulcan and Tactical to get the first kill in the bottom.
Yep, and Ignar does a good job of holding the wave outside of the turret there so FBI can get everything. But what I was saying is just Denethor, from going from week 1 buying 2 of the same item because of nerves to now in week 2, you're 3,000 gold down individually and you're still able to find those clutch plays, those Meganars that you're talking about that really did turn some of those reversal fights all the way in Dignitas' favor. I really like to see that out of a rookie.
You really do. So very well played there. Blabber is going to be hard to deal with on the Trundle here. If he gets too far ahead of the pace of this game into 4 melees, I really feel like he's going to be able to take over as Ignar roams out, looking for Loki.
Ooh, Ignar with the flash. Zenith Blade finds his target on the Cloud9 mid laner, but Loki with the flash away, and Vulcan right behind him does escape to safety. Summoner spell now down.
Palafox, I think, needs to have a very good game if Dignitas is winning this one. I mean, honestly, just because I don't like the draft, it's like anyone needs to get just exceptionally fed, and maybe they'll have a chance to carry.
Okay.
It's not like the Akali-specific thing. If Aatrox gets really fed, he'll be important. If Palafox or if FBI gets very fed on the Victor, he's still good against the melee champions. I do think it's going to be a fairly binary game in that way, because you have so many melees on both sides. Whichever team gets ahead is just going to snowball.
I just feel like, particularly for Palafox and XU's champions, what they want to do and the tools that normally allow them to do that are pretty solidly nullified by a lot of what C9 does. Akali's smoke is generally weaker against AoE, and there's so much AoE on the side of C9 to just bombard that area as soon as Palafox tries to find safety. XU's Crescent Guard also is great to protect him from long-range attacks. It's going to protect him from Ziggs. Everybody else is inside the Crescent Guard when they're doing damage. He is not going to nullify the Cloud9 onslaught.
He is here in top lane, though. Thanatos hits 6. XU's here.
Okay, Thanatos with the flash away already. XU with the win becomes lightning, but Thanatos does avoid the pressure as we get ourselves a pause. What could this be for?
Who did it?
Who's pausing?
Yep. Unfortunately, I'm not connected to the game, so normally I can see the chat.
Oh,
see when you're saying ready
okay.
and not.
Unlucky. Well, hopefully
Try
we'll
and
get
read
this.
the lips. Vulcan's talking.
Okay. Let's see. Normally it's whoever the refs head to first. Trying to keep an eye out for ref activity.
I bet you, here's something we don't track. I bet you there are players that pause more often than other players. Because there's obviously stuff that is just luck, but then there's also the players that are just very willing to pause or sensitive to any small thing going wrong.
We've received word that Vulcan paused the game. He says his mouse is teleporting around the screen.
That's a good reason.
Yeah, I feel like that's probably something that you've got to make sure you've got resolved. So hopefully this is just a quick fix, and we can get right back into things. The attempted gank onto Thanatos there. I like the fact that Thanatos, I feel like a lot of times, especially if a player is on a mobile champion like Ambessa, they'll try to greed the flash and say, no, I think I can probably get away from this guy anyway. Maybe if I use public execution to try to buffer through some of the CC. But instead, as soon as Thanatos sees him, he's just like, nope, screw it. We're flashing away. He barely loses any HP, and then he's still got his position in the lane. He's just down the summoner.
Not after last game. Not after losing game 1 to Dignitas. You're giving them the respect now. You're saying, yes, sir, I'm going to flash away just in case. Can't let this Aatrox get out of control here.
It's like, all right, man, I already took the Realm Warp to hell in game number 1. I'm not about to lose this early death in lane in game number 2. But yeah, I feel like the Denethor will have the opportunity to be pretty scary here on the Aatrox, with the fact that both teams just have these long-range control mages, these wave clearers, as their bottom lane carries, and then everybody else is just meatball soup. Everybody's got to go in the pot. Some of the meatballs are going to get squished. Some of them aren't. And whichever of these melee guys can get really far ahead, like I say, Xin Zhao and Akali are already kind of a disadvantage because their defensive tools are primarily against single target range damage or against long range opponents, which there's just not a lot of. So Aatrox kind of has to be the one to step up and be the raid boss if the raid's going to have somebody in charge.
I like that point. And I like what Denethor did in game 1. I know he fell behind the Corki, but that's not an easy matchup. Gnar into 80 carries is just really hard to do. So still finding clutch moments at the end of the game, I think, are great for a rookie like Denethor. It's a bit of a high-risk pickup for Dignitas if we think about it. Like, Photon was not a name that anyone was complaining about for Dignitas, but there's been, I think, a very strong push from the community to, if you were going to make changes, like, give these NA Tier 2 players a chance. Yeah. And that's what they're doing here with Denethor, and I want to see him succeed.
Yeah, it's a good way to actually build up more people wanting to try hard in Tier 2. If there's actually a path, a demonstrable path to get to the LCS from Tier 2, you're going to have more people pushing for it. You're going to have more people trying to become something through that. I like it. Again, Denethor having those Mega Gnar moments in game number 1. Nice to see. You love to see these guys who are hyped up from that second tier of competition show up in Tier 1 and be able to make an impact on things. And it looks like we do have everything resolved. League Ops did confirm that Vulcan's mouse had a problem with it, but they were able to plug it in directly, and now it is working A-OK. So back to live. The other thing that we haven't really talked about yet that I always pay attention to whenever Sylas is in the game is what can Sylas steal? Because this champion's value is far different depending on what type of ultimates he has. Yeah. And I feel like Xin ultimate is normally very strong, Loki's got to try to get away here. Did steal away the perfect execution. Palafox goes in for the 5-point strike. I don't even have time to say what Loki's options are before Palafox buries him.
Palafox takes him down. Loki stole the Akali ultimate there to try and outplay him a little bit, but Palafox lands everything. A good solo kill, so gets the early electrocute. R1. Loki lands his E2 away, tries to use the first half of the Akali ult, and then didn't have time for the cooldown for R2 before he could escape. Palafox gets him.
I really, really like that from Palafox. The sun's still shining, my friend. Off to a good start here in the mid lane.
We're in a heat wave. Palafox Summer.
Vulcan, quick damage onto FBI there, but Ignar tries to turn it right back around onto Tactical. Vulcan eating even more damage as he's caught in the very edge of the gravity field. Vulcan flashing away, staying safe for now. Tactical with the Mega Inferno Bomb unlocked, but XU's making his way down to the bottom lane here at the same time. Tactical grabs the kill. XU moving forward. FBI's got to be careful. Blabber is also here. XU with the flash over the wall. Wind becomes lightning as FBI continues his escape, but he's caught by Loki. Now XU wants to get all the way out. Blabber keeps chasing him, but the turret is going to make sure that Dignitas's jungler stays alive.
Yeah, bait there at the end by Tactical, presenting himself as the target with level 6. Ignar goes back in, but then kind of everyone on C9 descends. So Vulcan and Tactical consistently getting the better of these trades. Beautiful hook by Vulcan. They're right in front of the minion wave as Ignar tries to go in for the extended trade. They had a level advantage on the supports. Ends up not mattering that much. But I mean, just this bait right here with Loki and Blabber coming down on this re-engage by Ignar. He's always going to die to the level 6 Ziggs. And then no one can actually make it all the way away, so it ends up being a 2-for-1 because of the Silas roam.
Yep, and then you can see Blabber wanted to try to cut off XU. He even commits the subjugate there to try to burn the Xin down, make him vulnerable enough. But XU can still get enough distance to get himself away, so a slight gold lead here early on for Cloud9. Dignitas's 1 point of individual advantage is Palafox here on that Akali. Level 6s now acquired for both of our bottom lane control mages, as the first Drake did go over to the C9 side earlier on, and we do have the Grubs now spawned on the map. Remember, that was a bit of a scuffle in game number 1. Dignitas ultimately coming out on top in that one, earning themselves all 3 Grubs, but C9 has their bottom lane duo as well as Blabber hanging out in this topside river.
Man, very early healing reduction purchased by Palafox is going to be good in the Silas matchup to prevent him from healing, but then just also really good against Trundle. Overall, Trundle heals so much if they want a chance of killing him later on in the game.
All right, XU starts up the Grubs. General strategy applies here. If you get enough time to just burn one of them down with your general kit without a smite. Okay, never mind. We're just going to smite that one down instead. Take it away. Leave and allow C9 to potentially take the other 2. Nice Crescent Guard there. Going to protect them from the Mega Inferno Bomb coming out from Tactical as FBI tries to move forward here with the Arcane Storm, but XU's already been killed by Thanatos, who's made his way down into the fight. Denethor wants to try to heal up in the middle of everybody, but Palafox assassinates Tactical on the very back end of things near the enemy chickens. Now Thanatos in a 1v3, but he's got backup coming in behind him. Denethor with the Q2 over the wall. Vulcan tries to get away. He's down to 50 HP, but Vulcan survives. Thanatos chases FBI as the stolen solar flare hits like an orbital laser, and Denethor is erased. C9 with a 5-3 kill advantage as Dignitas barely misses out on one.
What an interesting fight right there. XU lived for so long at the start of it, and then I'd say Palafox kind of abandoned the team. He went to Narnia to pick up that first kill on his own Akali, and it left the rest of the team in a 3 versus 4. We'll see how that pays out for him, because he did secure the kill for himself if he wants to snowball the rest of the game. But I think it ultimately could have turned the fight in Dignitas' favor if he was with the rest of the team.
Yep, we'll take another look at it once we get to the replay. Dignitas does end up taking 2 out of 3 Grubs once the dust settles, so they will come out slightly triumphant in that count. 30 seconds until our next Drake spawns. It was about 5.5 minutes into the game that the first one was taken, so very, very quick first take there from C9. As you can see, right now they do have control over that bot side river still. Blabber going to go ahead and take a recall as mid lane Palafox, again, just has to be careful whenever Vulcan is roaming around the area. Blabber did purchase Trinity Force. This is a massive power spike before the second dragon.
Big power on the Trundle. Can also just ult the Leona. If you wait until the W is active on Leona, you steal all the bonus resists, which is my favorite thing to do, especially if there was an Aftershock user, which he is, which is kind of surprising. A lot of times you see a spellbook on the Leona in these cases.
Yeah, if he has Eclipse and Aftershock active at the same time and Trundle ults him, by the time Aftershock and Eclipse wear off, he'll end up in like negative overall resistance value. Definitely not a fun place to be for a champion that's got to be on the front lines. As Ignar with a Hex Flash forward. Not going to find anything here immediately as the Infernal Drake has already been secured by Blabber. Palafox in some danger, hiding in the smoke for now. Xyu's going to be targeted by that Trundle. Vulcan very low on HP as they try to fly in and grab a kill, but no, it's Palafox down already. Xyu's about to die second. C9's already got 2 kills, and they want to make it more. FBI trying to get himself away. Tactical still on the chase. Minefield won't find a slow. Gravity Field protects the victor a little bit longer, but C9, they'll grab the objective. They'll grab 2 kills. They'll grab themselves a 2,000 gold lead.
And I think they're starting to snowball this one just a little bit. Blabber did fall there, but not before taking a bite out of Palafox. Watch how close this timing actually is. So Palafox flies in, lands his E, and then he's going to be going for the execute onto Blabber as Blabber just cues him right in the face. So he's very low, but then actually finds this nice angle, R1E. So he wants to activate the E and then R, and Blabber just bites him as he flies through. Then we'll get some extra healing from his passive, which keeps him alive a little bit longer before Victor All takes him down. And another just kind of small win for C9, but they all add up.
Oh, and now we have a potential another win up here for C9, but everybody on Dignitas also showing up to the party. A 3v3 as C9 backs away, injured solo laners, but it's Dig singing the same song. Nobody dies up here in this battle. Meanwhile, it's C9 that has pressure elsewhere on the Rift as Tactical is taking plates over in the mid lane. Remember, it's so easy to get so much money so quickly when you have Ziggs on the team. Just get the turrets low enough, blow them away with the satchel, and it can be a very, very swift affair to make sure that the map is much more open than Dignitas would like it to be.
Yeah, Tactical got that Blackfire Torch very early on at about 10 minutes. Pretty effective Ziggs game so far. I don't know if they're going to be able to get a bunch of mid-prio like Victor versus Ziggs. It's just a wave clear fest as the supports continue to move away, but I still expect him to get a lot of good damage out in team fights.
All right, Dignitas. Last game also got away from him very far, but this is a very different situation. Like you were saying in game number 1, the Realm Warps felt desperate and goofy because of the fact that you're up against Rapid Fire Twisted Fate and nobody can really afford to get gold carded. Dignitas felt like they had a compositional advantage there. Meanwhile, here in the second game, most of what we've been talking about is, yeah, Xyu and Palafox's defensive tools are not strong against the Cloud9 composition, and so it just feels like champions like the Trundle, like the Mbessa, and Ziggs just peeling for himself are very good against Dig. So I feel like it's kind of more difficult for Dignitas to find their way back in once they get significantly behind.
I agree. They have the double Sundered Sky on their melee frontliners, which they're hoping are able to kind of brawl with all the melees, get a lot of different individual healing procs, but I just feel like there's more sustained melee damage from the Trundle Ambessa, and especially with Loki having the 3 kills.
Ooh, Denethor's gonna walk right into the brush there. Thanatos alone won't be able to kill him, but Vulcan coming down here can certainly put a little pressure onto the health bar. Denethor's Q3 not going to hit Vulcan with the sweet spot. Denethor losing about 40% health in the exchange. Ignar shows his face here in the top side brush. Loki's just going to go ahead and step back. Xyu also making his way up towards the top side. Meanwhile, bottom lane, Denethor going to be forced away yet again. Blabber, Thanatos. Ignar's also coming down. Thanatos goes in for the dive here with the public execution. Denethor low, and he cannot survive long enough. Now, FBI and Palafox both showing up here at the same time as Thanatos will die. Make it a 1-for-1 so far. Blabber trying to get himself away. Nautilus ulti for the defense means that Palafox has to retreat all the way back. So it's a 1-for-1 trade on kills. But C9 get multiple teleports out of Dignitas as well as taking the turret for themselves.
That's the big investment when you try and pull off one of those double TP plays. When 2 people teleport on the same target, even though there is a restart of the teleport animation, it's very hard to read, so you usually surprise people with it, but they still lose the turret, lose the 1-for-1, and now Loki trying to make something special happen.
Yeah, they want to make this play work, but the problem is right here, Loki is able to go in and grab the kill on Palafox. This is what I was seeing the entire time. He has the stolen perfect execution. Loki's still staying alive for now, too. Does finally get shut down by FBI, but you can see even when Ignar initially went in, Palafox had to stand to the side. He's like, dude, I don't have the health. I can't go in here. They needed FBI, and Loki still makes it a 1-for-1.
Well, also especially because Palafox built the healing reduction early, still doesn't have his first legendary item, just making him that much weaker. Meanwhile, Loki with the scaling Doran's Helm and the Proto Belt and the upgraded Merc Treads really just sustaining against the 2 magic damage dealers that are trying to get him. Now the Gunblade is finally completed for Palafox, but Big plays there by Loki.
Yeah, Loki coming out good on that one. I feel like he's got a little bit of redemption to earn for himself here in the second game after the Realm Warps in game number 1. 4-2-1 so far on the Sylas. Looking good as Dignitas will begin the Rift Herald. They've almost got the Rift Herald ended already, so they can secure that one for themselves. So Dignitas winning the top half of the map neutrals, Cloud9 winning both of the dragons so far, and wouldn't you know it, the third Drake of the game is live now, just 16 minutes in. If C9 gets this one, it's a very early soul point, and this is going to cause a lot of problems for Dignitas if you're having to answer every dragon from 20 minutes onwards.
It absolutely will, especially with the over-reliance on melee champions. Like, how do you move into take space? They don't have waves pushed. They can't necessarily get into the river. And if Ignar tries to go in, he gets deleted by the Trundle ult.
Exactly. How are you supposed to walk up into a river controlled by a Cloud9 that has Trundle and Ziggs? You get pillared, you get the entire Ziggs kit thrown at you. All of a sudden, the best thing you can do is hobble back to base, hoping you're still alive.
They might try and take the Herald in, but it seems ambitious.
Battle Herald summoned up. XU ready to drive it.
Turn.
Oh, and it just immediately hits a big old stinking traffic cone. Nice job there from C9 as Thanatos jumps into the back line, going for everybody. Potential flash away coming out from Vulcan, but a nice solar flare locks him up. It's already a 1-0, going the way of Dignitas, but they got to be careful. Ignar's going to be taken out here as Tactical tries to flash over the wall, but he does die. Loki under pressure. XU finding plenty of damage onto that one. Thanatos and Blabber still looking to fight here with the 2v3. Thanatos is low, but Denethor's not finding the damage he needs just yet. Q3 with the flash finds the sweet spot as FBI kites and fights Blabber, trying to get enough distance here with the power siphon. Denethor coming up, the World Ender. He gets the Q1, he gets the Q2, and he saves FBI. C9, they may have got themselves soul point, but Dignitas wins the fight.
It's a delayed ace by Dignitas. Let's see how they make this one work. So a lot of resources burned early, actually. So pillar down, that will prevent them from being able to stuff the re-engage. And I just see Palafox getting a lot of backline access here. First off, Ignar doesn't get instantly one-shot, which allows Dignitas to turn. Perfect headshot on Vulcan from the Leon ultimate, and then Palafox actually being able to finish off Tactical here. Look at that damage. He was 75% health. Flashes as the auto's already started, so he finishes him off. And then potentially target selection here by C9. Thanatos and Blabber split. Blabber can't actually get this kill onto FBI by the end of it, and then falls himself with Denethor landing everything onto Blabber, and FBI just dancing on him with the extra move speed.
Jesus Christ.
I'm the Diggs. I mean, the Victor
I'm the
King.
Ziggs. You're the Jigs?
Victor King.
All right, by the way,
Focus.
Victor King. He's the Victor King. Victor King. Don't worry. His name's Victor. It's all good.
Yeah, it's all good. But hey, man, Big Dig is still in it. It's a 1,500 gold lead for C9. It is soul point for C9, but 1,500 gold, I feel like 19 minutes into the game, you're like, okay, yeah, we're ahead, but it doesn't really mean a whole lot usually, right? On average, it's like 400 gold per player. It's not super impactful. The big thing is going to be, like we were talking about before the Drake, Cloud9 did get it. So Dig has to answer every dragon from here on out, or it's Hex Tech Soul going over to C9, which, when we're already talking about melee compositions, melee heavy comps, constantly dealing with the slow from the Hex proc is obnoxious.
It would be a very difficult game for Dig to win if they give this over. And we have a big fight here. FBI's way up.
Yeah, FBI getting himself away with a Chovy belt, though, as Blabber and Thanatos still trying to push forward. XU surviving once more with a Crescent Guard. Gets himself away, so Dignitas managed to disengage this one. Even though it means C9 has control over the Rift for now, there's nothing to really control.
Yeah, very interesting. So some of the expectations we had coming into this game is that if C9 got ahead, they'd be able to snowball, because a lot of times we think Ignar goes in, they just Trundle ult him, they can burst him down. That actually hasn't happened in many of these fights. Ignar bought a lot of time with his locket and heal, and somehow has managed to maneuver around the subjugate. And then the second one would be the fact that Palafox has actually been able to get access to Tactical has been really important, because all that Ziggs AoE damage not actually being able to land onto the triple melee has been huge. And then that allows FBI to be the mage carry with the sustained damage to take down all the melees.
And that's what we were talking about with are concerns of the Dignitas draft early on in the game anyway, is it's like, okay, you're a Kali. The enemy mid laner is not something that you can really assassinate. They don't have a squishy support. The main target you're going after is this long-range mage on the Ziggs. So Palafox's target access, I agree, man, it is absolutely where it needs to be if Dignitas want to be able to bring this one back. C9 still up, 2,500 gold. Denethor is your target. Tries to get over the wall here with the humble dash, staying alive for now, but Loki jumps over and follows him. Denethor is already down. Dignitas trapped in a 4v5. Make it a 3v5 almost. No, not quite. Ignar gets away underneath the tier 2 turret. C9 will be happy to find that pick on the enemy top laner, but what can they get from it? The thing is, all 5 ultimates were spent for that. So if you try to start up the Baron, something along those lines, you do have Dignitas still ready to try to answer. Is this Vulcan's mouse again?
It might be. I'm glad we're on this pause screen, though, because we can take a look at the game state. About 45 seconds before that pause happened until the Drake would spawn. I think some of those ultimates will come up during the Drake fight if they started on spawn, but it's kind of a tight timing, and they don't have enough sustained damage to force Baron off the start of that one. So I think the kill matters, but it doesn't matter that much.
So I think the thing is, though, as long as you don't get drunk on the idea of Baron and just go up there and dance around and waste time anyway, if you're C9 and you just say, all right, screw Baron, it's not worth it, just make sure you're first to the dragon. Even if you don't have the ultis, I think you still have so much control with Trundle plus Ziggs together, like I was talking about earlier. You can buy the 15 seconds or whatever you need before the ultis fully come back up just by throwing the stink pillar and the bombs at them. And then as soon as you actually have everything, you're saying, okay, you want to come fight us, let's fight. But the only time I feel like that falls apart is if you're C9, you're thinking about Baron, so everybody's just kind of, you know, doing a square dance around the topside river for no reason. And then, oh, okay, you look at the clock, it's 10 seconds, Dragon's going to spawn, and now you don't have control. You don't have priority. They aren't checking into Trundle Ziggs. So that's really what I want to see from C9. Unfortunately, what I didn't want to see from C9 is also the truth, and apparently Vulcan's mouse has once again gone rogue, so that is what we are waiting on to be stabilized so we can head back into the game.
Vulcan, fix your mouse. Is this the mouse of an MVP? I don't know.
Ah, yes.
I think this
the
retroactively
mouse valuable player.
Hurts his
mouse
case.
Valuable peripheral.
It is.
Yes.
For a League of Legends player, I think it is the most valuable peripheral of all.
Because you could still play even without a keyboard. You would have to do the really inefficient, like, click your ability, click the guy.
Yeah, I know a few people that play with trackpad.
Yeah, I had
crazy.
One of my buddies that I played with back in like Season 1, Season 2, right? Like old school League of Legends. He only played Darius, and he played on a trackpad.
It makes a little more sense.
Yeah, when I ever asked her, I was like, so do you just really love Darius? He's like, yeah, man, I just love Darius. All I want to play is Darius. I just get on my trackpad, run at him with Darius. It's great.
Yeah.
So whenever I hear of trackpad gaming, my friend and his career on Darius from Season 2 always comes to mind. Shout out to Jake if you're still out there watching, buddy. God bless that Darius.
Okay, you know who has a working mouse? Soon to be Vulcan. They're restarting his PC 3 to 4 minutes. The Lounge has a working mouse, and they're going to use it, I hope, to break down some of the plays from this game. Is that true, Lounge?
Let's hear it.
Maybe.
Very presumptuous.
Yeah, very presumptuous. It is. Yeah, we were going to do that, but now, just to spite you,
maybe we won't.
We're just going to sit here in silence.
Yes.
I'm just glad I can use my hand again to use a mouse. It was pretty difficult
You can
for a
change
while,
that.
and I broke my hand.
Look how tall Emily is. Are you threatening physical violence?
Look at how tall I am right now. Come on.
Oh my God.
That is
All right,
crazy.
let's go over some early plays because we have some.
Like Tyler won't interview me.
We had some stuff. We got started early in this game with, as you two have already pointed out off camera, the most telegraphed top to bot gank of all time, right? So we have FBI and Ignar pushed up in this lane. And basically, as soon as Vulcan lands this hook, Blabber is going to be able to wrap around for a gank. They're really far up here, and yeah.
It is like the most, this is 101.
Just a matchup. There's no counterplay to that.
If you're Exu and you tab and you see what the hell just happened bot lane, did you just tell me a Trundle full cleared into a gank bot and it worked?
Yeah.
With a ward too?
That's the crab. He skipped the crab and he went to the Victor.
Fuming.
You know, nothing you can do about it.
I mean, Victor is a vicious vicious champion.
Yes.
You know, there's not a lot you can do. You can't
Look, we've
restrain
talked
yourself
about
from
AD
pushing.
carries, you know.
How would you know where the jungler is?
Getting used to playing
way.
mages. Victor's name is Victor, you know, he has to ease into it. I don't know.
Role-playing.
I have no idea. We're gonna start back here too, because I liked how the cast pointed out that it's also kind of a waiting game for the Ziggs to get his ult. So we have early 2v2 scrapping here. But the other thing I want to point out is just fog, right? Because this is what Dignitas sees. The map is pretty dark, so they don't even see Blabber is already invading. All right, we're gonna toss to casters and get back into the game.
Damn, I wanted to flame dig more.
All right, thank you very much, Emily. We are about to head back into the game. Vulcan's mouse should be just about A-okay and ready to go. But yeah, game still favoring C9.
It is.
Obviously, still possible to win for Dignitas.
Very
And
much
again,
so.
The biggest thing on my mind, what I'm focusing on right now, is C9 resetting their position and getting ready to play from a spot of priority around this upcoming Dragon Soul. Hex Soul is so huge in this game.
Watch this bot wave. Loki's first to it. He's going to be pushing it out. C9 is going to be getting first setup in this area. Their ultimates will be back on time. Loki's ult is back up. Tacticals is going to be back up in time. I even think Subjugate from Blabber will be up in time. I think Dig is going to try and get mid-prio here. If FBI has his third core item here, he's resetting right now, can teleport back into it. They need to throw everything into this fight. So if it's time to buy elixirs, do it now. They need to win this Drake.
Well, FBI doesn't have the fully completed items, sadly, but he does at least get the ashes to throw in there, so a little bit of extra dot power. Immediately Vulcan going in for a big burst of damage. Palafox is dead! Oh, the soul fight is over before it even begins. Stolen solar flare coming out from Loki finds its way onto Ignar. C9 with a 5v4 man advantage. Denethor can't get anything off to the side. Palafox in the wrong place at the wrong time, immediately punished. C9 are loving this.
That's the worst thing that could happen. The reason they were able to win some of these other fights was Palafox getting access to tactical. Just getting hooked and one-shot before this makes this Drake uncontestable.
That might just be the hero play of the game from Vulcan, grabbing Palafox right before the Hex Soul spawns. Now a 4,000 gold lead, plus the extra, at least that much value in combat power from the Soul itself. I know this is dangerous to say after game one. C9 should win from here.
Well, that's what we said last game, as you said. There's a few streaks as well that are on the line right here. So the last series win for Dignitas 174 days ago. They could win this game and break it. C9's streak was broken yesterday, or sorry, last week against TL. As Loki, he might just win this.
Yeah, Loki stays alive long enough with his drain tanking, and now he's got the backup coming in. A little bit more damage might be able to take him out, and yes, Dignitas at least secure the kill, but now they got to be careful because Thanatos is making his way down to the bottom lane as well. Vulcan right behind him. Denethor will be left to the Wolves as it ultimately settles with a 1-for-1 trade down here in the bot lane. Bloodbath brawl as the mid lane tier 1 turret is removed from the rift. On the Cloud9 side, 2-2 in turrets overall. Honestly, not a whole lot of map pressure in the lanes from either team after 24 minutes of play.
No, the improvements that C9 wanted to make from last week to this week, I would imagine they're only partially checked.
We're going. I'm going.
Fighting bot.
Yeah.
Fighting bot.
We're looking bot. Yeah.
I'm going from left side.
Here. I can make time.
Fighting.
Coming.
Can you guys run? Yeah, I'm coming.
They have 2 flash.
I can still make time.
Yeah, I'm coming, okay.
Is that John flash?
Yeah, I can hold my stock,
but yeah, we should
yeah, we win. Please come here. Akali time.
진짜
Korea
no
STP soon
flash,
though.
eight
Korea
to
STP soon, semi-sauce.
I'm still looking, guys.
Yeah.
Look my position. It's already dead.
They just skip.
Hey.
Nice escape at the end by Dig, to be completely honest. That headshot by Ignar on the solar flare to stop Thanatos from being able to make it through did prevent C9 from winning out on that play, because C9 just ultimately sent more people bot lane for the 1-for-1, and Dig was able to collect more gold on the rest of the map.
Yep, we could see at the very end of the replay as well, Thanatos' public execution. He used it, but wasn't able to find a target, so that extra distance, very important there for Dignitas overall, as Focus now on the top side of the map. No Elder Drake spawning for 3.5 minutes, so Baron is really where everybody's attention is at. Leandri's Torment is fully completed now for FBI on the Victor, but he is the only one on his team at a 3 full item power spike. Palafox still struggling a bit here on the Akali. Yes, he's got his fully upgraded quest boots, but only a Hextech Gunblade, so still trying to get that second item fully completed. There it is. Shadow Flame comes online. You're welcome for the caster curse. Palafox got to get the extra money in the pocket on that one, as we still have the 2 item power spikes in both top and jungle. Important to note that Blabber on the other side is 3 fully completed items on his Trundle. This Trundle is a problem. You were praising how good this fits into the composition against what Dignitas has drafted at the start of this game. Blabber is the richest man on the Rift, and he is such an issue for Dignitas to try to fight through. Trundle is one of the most ball of stats champion in League of Legends. 3 of his abilities just give him more stats, right? The last one is a big stinky pillar. That's what you have. True. You have a big stinking rock and 3 things that give you stats. This guy is so difficult to fight through for a melee-heavy team.
He's the most LoL Classic champ that still exists in Modern League. I feel like. He's been like mildly updated, but he's pretty much the same. They're going to start up Baron here and dare them to walk into Blabber's wall of stats.
All right, well, Ignar's the one to find himself on the wrong side of the stink pillar. He flashes over to stay alive. Meanwhile, topside, Loki versus Palafox. Favoring Loki for now, does have the 1 level advantage over Palafox on the Akali. Palafox trying to zip and zap back and forth. Tries to get away from Loki, does survive for now, but the Sylas coming out on top in that one for sure, as both top laners make their way over. Nice sidestep there from Denethor to not get caught by the public execution. C9 still with control over the enemy blue buff jungle and over the top side river.
It's funny how I bring up League Classic and you see kind of the most anti-League Classic there is Sylas and Akali are just dashing 72 times past each other. It ends up meaning pretty much nothing. Loki was definitely stronger there, so Palafox kind of wins by just absorbing the ultimates and Baron still not being taken.
I did like how in the trailer for League Classic, the champions that they used to display Zillion's distress at not recognizing the League of Legends that he knew was like Cassante and Zoe and everything that has essentially been like a copy pasta champ over the course of the last multiple years.
Not quite the era of League Classic as well. Dignitas, if they come back in this, trying to do something that they haven't done since 2017 Summer Playoffs. So it's been 3,000. That's your mouse fault.
It's that damn mouse again, isn't it?
I'll get through this. 3,269 days since Dig has beaten C9 in a best of series. They've taken plenty of games, but a best of series.
That is 9 years.
It's a long time.
9 years since they've beaten Cloud9 in a series.
Okay, so now they're swapping his mouse.
Okay.
I'm glad we have a backup.
This mouse must be burned. It's clearly had its best days. Bury it with honors. This mouse no longer fulfills its function.
I'm sorry. I wonder how long he's had that mouse for, because some people really hold on to mice for a long time.
I mean, until they start breaking, why not, right?
Well, because they can get really gross. Like the ones that have the faux leather, like the fake leather on them, that can start decaying onto like your fingers and stuff.
Oh, yeah, that sounds kind of
But like once
gunky.
the feel, and I know, and they can like build up a bunch of gunk over time. I've kept mice for a really long time in the past. But it's your mouse, you know? But
you're used to the feel of it.
For a pro gamer, I feel like you should just get used to the feel of new mice so you can keep swapping it out.
So you always have top performance,
Yeah. But then there's also certain models of mice that sometimes aren't made anymore, so you have to buy like 10 of them in hopes that they'll never be replaced.
You find one that you really like, and you're like, no, I'm just going to buy enough of this that I'll be able to use the same thing, swap in a new one every year or whatever.
Exactly. We need the story of this mouse from Vulcan, because he probably feels pretty betrayed right now, to be completely honest. I think Dignitas is probably more upset because they're the ones losing the game. And they're just like, come on, like either let us come back or let us go to game 3.
Play the game. All right. Well, hopefully it doesn't take a whole lot longer to get this one situated. We can get back in because it is just, I mean, you saw the top lane, despite the fact that it was the 200 years dash bonanza in the top side. The bonanza very much went one way, and that was the way of Loki.
It did.
Right. I still remember the Zeka versus Scout head-to-head in it was quarters or semis in Worlds 2022 when Zeka was in his, it was the Sylas Akali meta, and he was just winning both sides of the matchup against everybody constantly. And just the top lane fight happened to route the exact same spot on the map that one did. And Zeka just beats Scout, barely takes any damage. And in the replay, earlier on in the game, you could see Scout being like, oh, I just barely lost the 1v1. He was kind of laughing it off. That one was the one where you could see the despair on his face because he was like, damn, dude, he's really just better. I can't keep up anymore.
There's nothing I can do at this stage. Hexol helps that. Also, Seeker's Arm Guard to be able to make more time if he gets caught in the side lane again. But we've made it all the way to Elder. Honestly, the Hexol didn't advance the game very much for C9. They took no Barons. They got maybe 1 or 2 kills. Now we are here for a potential Elder flip. Now, last time we built up a Drake fight, Palafox got hooked in 1 shot.
Right.
Let's hope we see more of a battle this time.
Let's see what we get.
Uh-oh.
C9 has Guardian Angel on Thanatos here as well. They've got that Seekers, like you already said, there on Loki. Ignar gets caught by the dredge line. C9, however, do not want to engage on enemy Leona. Guardian Angel also available on XU, but there's no get out of jail free card for anybody else on the Dignitas side. C9 going in, a little bit of burst of damage here into Ignar and XU both. Down to half HP on those frontliners. Dignitas also losing half the health on Denethor, as well as the Crescent Guard on XU. Public Execution does not find a target thanks to the flash from Dignitas. Solar Flare only gets a slow, no stun to be found. Dredgeline lollipops and pulls Ignar back. Blabber takes a bite out of him. Now FBI's got to be careful. Depth charge onto the enemy carry, and he's already down. Blabber goes on a killing spree. Palafox into the back line, but he only dies. Dignitas is absolutely crushed. Ignar will be the only one to get away. XU loses his Guardian Angel for nothing, and with only Leona left alive with 35 seconds on the nearest respawning Dignitas player, the Elder Dragon is not required. C9's gonna march it down bot.
Beautiful patience by C9 in that fight, knowing that the Hexol poke from Ziggs was just going to be immaculate. They just whittled them down and engaged at the right timing. C9 is not going to get swept by Dignitas today.
C9's going to bring us to a third game, and for Dignitas, it's shades of week 1. A tough game 1 that they make the comeback in. Then in game number 2, they cannot keep up. It's C9 tying us up, taking us to game 3.
All right, let's see what C9 and Dig are going to go for here in game 3. Back-to-back weeks, Dig wins game 1.
Yeah.
They're able to pull it back in the comeback. They're able to win. Game 2, they lose. Pretty one-sided. We'll see if they can get their first series win of the split and what would be their first one since February 8th in this year. Vi's
just available here. It has to be the best jungler in slot, especially with Trundle banned.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think you can go Vi, and then, but it's like, I don't think Vi's that scary because you can always answer with Nefiri. You can answer, even like Wukong comps, I think, can be pretty good. So Cassio going to be the first pick here for C9, which we know obviously can go bot, can go mid. And Jace, really strong blind pick right now.
Yeah, Jace had previously been banned, is now on the table, and also can be flexed to other roles.
Yeah.
I would still fully expect him to be going top most of the time.
But we saw Berserker play at bot.
Yeah, we saw Berserker play at bot. We've also seen the jungle flex speaking of an emergency flex. I think they kind of locked in from Lion last split. So we do see the Jace locked in, and I do wonder if they just end up going by here, they being Dignitas.
And it is actually just so difficult if you're going red side and you're first picking Jace, and you have a jungler that can play Jace top lane. Obviously, Denethor has played quite a bit of Jace. You can play Jace mid because that has been a pick that Palafox has played in the past in bot lane. It's a 4-way flex, theoretically.
Well, now it's not going bot.
Okay, well, that's the first.
I don't see sticking Jin in.
That's the first
jingle.
Now I want to see. I want you to log onto a solo queue account. And
you can jungle anything.
Yeah.
I'm not telling you it's good, but like in modern League, it is so easy to clear on basically anything. It's gonna be slow and it's gonna be horrible, but you can clear.
It can work. It can work. Ooh, I wonder if there's gonna be a Cassante pick here, just simply because Rumble Vi being locked in from C9. I think you quite literally have to, unless if you're super locked into the Jace going top lane. But I doubt that you would be that unflexible.
Yeah, you can flex it mid, flex it jungle.
I don't think Jace is that bad into the Rumble as long as you draft for the 2v2. But, I mean, I think it's definitely scary for any pushing top laner to be playing against Vi, right? Because you're just gonna get equalized, and then you have the ult on your head. But Skarner is a great option. I always like Nefiri into it. Skarner is kind of like the more defensive option. because it's just there to peel. So yeah, you can't stop the buy as she ults in, but you can time your impale so it lands as she comes down from her ult. You can obviously, Ishtal's impact after that, and you're basically just looking to CC and burst down their front line as they dive in. We did see a Kai'Sa ban last game. I wouldn't be surprised to see, a Kai'Sa ban again this game as someone who could be kind of like working alongside a dive comp.
Yeah.
And if you're Dignitas side, you're pretty comfortable already within your composition, have like good range with Jhin and Jace versus Cassio. I think with how much Cassio has been played globally, and even though a lot of our lane matchups have just been much stronger after certain rune changes, she is still an immobile, mid-range champion that will be susceptible to all types of pokes. So I do like what Dignitas has so far in their comp.
The Poppy ban's kind of interesting because we're already showing jungle, we're already showing top right, so it's kind of, you're banning it, saying that Vulcan might want to play this into something that we want to play. So that makes me think of like Alistar or potentially like Rel, kind of like playmakers that you could actually shut down and engage champs.
Yeah.
Maybe, Pyke, but I don't really think Pyke Jhin is that strong. So it's kind of interesting seeing the Poppy band here.
Yeah, I do like the Galio ban coming out of C9, not only just the lane counter, right, if you are flexing the Jace out of top.
Counter engage too.
But yeah, also really, really nice counter engage that they would have off the table, and Rakan taken off the table by Dignitas.
Rakan being taken off the table is interesting. I think best 4 pick for me, if I visualize what Dignitas wants, Alistar is really good for Ignar especially. And I think it fits the composition quite well. If you actually have a Vi jumping into any level of engage there, you have Skarner, Alistar frontline, but you want to pick Alistar into
Alistar or Rel, right?
Yeah.
Rakan. So yeah, Rel might be just the choice. There it is, it's locked in. Really beefy frontline alongside Skarner.
No, those were definitely the two I was thinking of as soon as they banned the Poppy, right? You're looking for kind of those engage champs. If they, Ashe would be kind of interesting. I mean, Kalista plus, like, you can go Kalista Alistar. Funny enough, we were talking about Alistar. Alistar is good into Rel because you can interrupt the crash down pretty easily. Yeah. And can be a pretty strong 2v2. Obviously, there are a lot more kind of like standard aggressive ones too. Things like Renata can be a good answer and is stronger for the actual 2v2. Yeah. If they want to go that route. So that's kind of like my guess is it would be Renata if they want to go for the 2v2 more heavily. Otherwise, you can go Alistar if you wanted more primary engage.
Maybe you go Anivia here if you're Palafox. I think you have quite a bit of range.
I feel like Swain goes kind of hard, but
Swain is good too. Swain is very good too.
I'd love the Swain.
I feel like Swain is actually really good here.
Kalista especially.
Lock in the Anivia, baby.
Yeah.
I think you have such a good range composition. They cannot walk into you. I really do not like C9's low range composition. But yeah, well, I mean, I think
game 1 vibes a little bit where Dig can kind of just CC anyone.
Yeah.
There's also just so much setup for this Jhin to kind of just sit back and free fire, right?
The only question is, I think Dignitas being generally a team that struggles throughout the entire split at being able to connect as a team. You have Jace, you have an Anivia. Like, those are champions that need team connection with Ignar and Xu. So, like, sure, they may be great with items grouped up in a 5v5 fight with C9, but the pathway to get there is going to be difficult with a Rumble and Vi if you are uncoordinated as Dignitas.
You also have to be so careful around especially early skirmishes, right? Because all of C9 coming to like first, second, like even third Drake are going to potentially have better itemization. And they just are going to spike earlier. So if they are first to an objective, there is a world where they just set it up so it's really, really difficult to contest. And I wouldn't want to see Dig dragged into these fights earlier that they're not ready to take.
Yeah, it is interesting. I mean, I feel like C9 2v2 is really heavily winning as well, unless they're way too far forward and getting CC'd, but it's like Handshake is incredible against Skarner, is incredible against Rel. I feel like they have a lot of good tools in that 2v2, but
I'm giving it to
I
Dig.
still like Dig. I still like Dig's comp. Casters, what do you think?
Dig Summer.
Thank you very much, Lounge. And now we do have to see, is it truly Dig Summer? So far, this series feels so reminiscent of week 1. The troubles in game 1 that ultimately result in Dignitas victory, only to be followed up by a pretty unimpressive defeat right after, where the enemy team bounces back. And now C9 really wants to make sure that this 9-year streak of not losing a series to Dig is not broken today.
And I actually think this draft is fascinating. So there are ways that Dignitas can definitely pilot this and win, but I saw a Twitter video last night from Vagar V2, who is one of the positional coaches for C9.
Yep.
And he was actually talking about, he said it's, I don't remember exact phrasing, but it was like what mid laners know but don't talk about that often. And it's plug and play mid laners versus mid laners like champions that you need your team to specifically know how to play around, and you can't just do it on your own. So the brainless ones would be like Ari, Silas, Sakali. Like, you just play them, you get fed, and you flank. Everyone kind of knows how to play around that. You'll fit in anything. There's this fight that's happening over in Narnia. As Ari, you're just dashing there and you're being it. That's the, like, you can play this in any situation. Anivia was his example of a champion who you can only fight in specific zones. If you have the right wall in a team fight, that can't be happening while your teammate is flanking. Like, you really have, everyone on your team has to know, which I just think is so interesting, with Palafox stating that he wants to focus on his own game today and how difficult it's been for them to sync up with their teammates. If it works, it's because the team also knows how to play around Anivia, but it's not just on Palafox's ability to play it.
And I feel like, especially with Anivia, like, you're bringing up these characters that can't just be generic mid laner number 5 or whatever. Anivia by nature, by the nature of the champion's kit, because there's almost nothing in League of Legends that doesn't do at least some damage, right? Crystallize is one of those abilities that's from all the way back in old school, in classic League of Legends, where the game had a very different design philosophy. You're talking about a League of Legends where some champions would cast 3 spells and go out of mana. You're talking about a League of Legends that was designed differently, and Crystallize is a relic from that era. This is a pure utility ability. You can't kill nobody with Crystallize, right? It sets things up. It allows other things to kill people very effectively. But the placement of that wall, like you're talking about, that's make and break for Anivia. Everybody's got to be working together.
Can be completely game-changing. And then also pretty bold of C9 here to go with the Kalista Renata. So Tactical is a very confident Kalista player, but I'd say a lot of AD carries are very confident Kalista players, and there's a reason we don't see that much Kalista.
Yup.
Because it's a rather short-range champ. You can get hit with 1 CC and just get turbo stomped, and you don't scale exceptionally well.
Kalista is either Chad or bad. There is very little in between. You're 10-0 or you're 0-10. This champion just doesn't feel like it has much of an opportunity, especially because her damage doesn't scale into late to the same degree that like a traditional carry would. Yeah. Generally, it feels like you're going to dominate or you're going to get rolled over. I do want to say that in game number 1, I think one of the things that impressed me was the way that Denethor was able to use Cataclysms to find slams for his Mega Nars in the created terrain. And now in game number 2, I'm going to need to see, or game number 3, excuse me, I'm going to need to see the same type of teamwork from XU and Palafox. You're talking about Anivia needing proper setup and everybody needing to play around the Anivia. A big part of that setup is, okay, I know that the wall is going to be here. XU knows that the wall is going to be here. You get the Skarner Slam with the Ishtal's Impact into the Anivia wall, and that's how you make plays.
And that's the hope.
Yeah.
And there's not really a tank on C9 this game either. If you remember how game 1 fell apart, it's because they didn't have that clear person who could go in, whereas in game 2, a lot of them could go in, right? Ambessa, Trundle, Silas, or the Nautilus.
And so for Skarner, I feel like a lot of that for Dignitas is going to be, you need to catch them off guard. You need to have Skarner tunnel through a wall that otherwise he wouldn't have a good place to slam someone into for the stun. And then as soon as Anivia sees Skarner get that grab, you throw a wall right in front of him, boom, he body slams the guy into it, you've got the stun, you've got the follow-up.
Completely agree. I kind of feel like C9 needs to snowball pretty early in this game. Otherwise, there's just a lot of control that comes out from Dignitas. But this is also assuming that Dignitas has that control and discipline to play around the long-range Jhin poke, the long-range Jace poke, and the snap engage eventually at the right time from Ignar.
And I feel like that discipline subject is something we talk about a lot with our lower-ranked teams usually because they don't have that experience in the high-pressure situations as much. But for Cloud9, I feel like compared to in the past where we would be talking about top-of-the-table teams as being significantly better with it, I feel like in recent history, in week number 1, in game number 1 today, and then in playoffs of Spring Split, Cloud9 has demonstrated a distinct lack of discipline. And so for C9, despite being one of the teams that is in that top half of the standings, according to pretty much everyone's power rankings, I also want to see them continue to refine that. I think that they've still got a lot of work to do too.
The only patient thing that Cloud9's kind of done all series was the very last fight of the last game.
And we praised it.
And it was great.
Yep.
Good patience.
Love that.
But now, you kind of can't play with a huge amount of patience here with the Rumble Casio all squishy, all pretty aggressive laners, especially trying to play through this Kalista Renata, and then Vi just kind of having to go in on her own to make something happen.
Yeah, Kalista is not a patient champion. Kalista doesn't flip on cruise control. Kalista just tries to outrun the cop on the highway. This champion has got to make sure that you're applying pressure.
This was the first pick that Tactical played in the LCS, though, in the Spring Split with Team Liquid, his debut with Core JJ. He popped off on Kalista, eventually giving Team Liquid the confidence that they could run him back in summer after Doublelift moved back to TSM. So it's always been a comfort for Tactical.
And I like the fact that you bring up confidence and you bring up Doublelift, because when it comes to Tactical, I feel like a lot of people will think immediately of that Doublelift LCS tier list from a few years back, where he has Tactical in both S tier and Z tier.
Yep.
And the S tier Tactical is Tactical when he's confident. He can outplay anybody in the league. He can hard carry the game. The D tier was Tactical when he's not feeling that confident, will end up making blunders that can lose you the game. And on a champ like Kalista that we've already been talking about how quickly this can go good or equally bad, let's hope it's S tier Tactical.
C9's hoping it's S tier Tactical. Tactical's hoping it's S tier Tactical. Remember, Loki and Tactical, the additions to the C9 roster after their disappointing finish to a roster that never lost in the regular season. C9 lost in week 1 to Team Liquid, currently 1-1 against Dignitas. But as you can see with this 3-lane cam, very aggressive laning bot lane. The Casio early game against Anivia will get push, and then it's pretty hard to get push this early as Rumble into Jason.
Yeah, Dig doing a good job there, at least getting a little bit of damage back onto Ignar's, or onto Vulcan's Renata, excuse me. Vulcan very wisely did not choose to use any abilities or auto attacks while he was initially stunned underneath that turret. The Deadly Flourish would have surely guaranteed his demise within that range. But yeah, Ignar and FBI just got to play to clear out the waves here as Ignar flashes away to avoid what would have been a lethal rend.
Heal and flash for nothing, so C9 already putting a lot of pressure down in the bot lane, and Blabber just going to take bot Crab off this pressure. Might consider a dive. This is a barriered Jhin.
This is
trying to leave.
FBI all on his lonesome. Vulcan's got Blabber right behind him here. The Vault Breaker's already found the target, and FBI, he's not going to spend either one of the summoner spells. He knows he's dead in that situation.
Yeah.
Honestly, great job from C9 using that early control over the bottom lane. Thanatos with a flash away from the Ishtal's impact up here on the top side. Avoids any further pressure from Dig, but they'll get that summoner spell at least. Cloud9 up to an early lead.
I do feel like if FBI flashed the initial Vault Breaker, he probably lives, but once it connects, I think C9 could have flash followed for the kill. So that's spectacular for C9, the outcome there.
I think that Vulcan still had the handshake available. So if FBI flashes, you just get handshook right back, and you might not even have to flash in return, which is probably what he's going for. Like, I just don't want to spend it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, you know, there's always the what ifs. Maybe I could have got away. Obviously, in this one, FBI is saying he doesn't want to risk that. As Ignar, nice stop on the recall from Vulcan there. I mean, get something back, but now he could be in danger himself. Tactical keeps hopping and skipping forward. The Rend at least gets a target.
This is wild.
XU wants to jump in. Yeah, this is kind of crazy. Tactical doing a good job making sure that Vulcan doesn't get grabbed by the Ishtal's impact. So Vulcan is still stuck in lane down here. XU is still hanging around nearby. Does have his rock ready to throw. Ignar steps forward. FBI eats half his health bar and damage from the turrets. Tactical goes in, and Ignar goes down. Dignitas at least finally gets the kill back on a Vulcan as Tactical tries to stay alive against XU, who gets a double kill, but now he's going to die to the turret. Okay.
It's a brawl.
Yep.
It's a bloodbath in the bot lane.
It's a bar fight in bottom lane.
Blabber's real fed off of this because he's just been farming camps. But let's watch this. So Vulcan has his heal burned in this initial engage by XU after sidestepping the Skarner. And then, crucially, he still has Guardian here. So when they go for this fourth shot, it doesn't actually kill him. He's in range of the Guardian, you can see right there, gets the Guardian shield, is able to actually live this out. Then Tactical. It's just crazy. Why is it? Vulcan's still up there, probably trying to avoid the Jhin damage, but if he stays under the turret, he doesn't get killed by the Flash Skarner, and they can walk that one out. A few mistakes and a few outplays on both sides.
Yeah, that was quite a crazy one. The biggest winner here is Tactical, who is up 700 gold over FBI now, as C9 will also take this chance. They are going for another early first Drake, just 5.5 minutes on the clock, and C9 will secure this one. Easy breezy. That's going to upgrade Blabber's Smite there as well. Not super valuable with tenacity and healing shielding power 5.5 minutes into the game, but again, you're stacking the soul pressure. Last game was something that worked heavily in C9's favor, and they're off to a good start with it yet again.
Yeah, pretty great start from the bot lane. And I'm really thinking Blabber's put up in a good situation to impact the other lanes. Like a Fed Vi flying side lanes into Jace makes it really difficult for Jace to play side lanes, and then can maybe snowball the map, which is what I think C9 has to do. They have to snowball this game to win.
And XU's looking at topside here yet again. We'll find a control ward, seeing him with that attempt. Thanatos' flash is still about 1/3 of the cooldown remaining before that's ready to go, so they want to try to punish that summoner spell that XU got last time, but Thanatos will not give them the opportunity. And once more, every time we pan down to bottom lane, it's Tactical and Vulcan with total control over this 2 versus 2 head-to-head, as Ignar and FBI going to go back up, see Blabber stealing away the blue buff from XU's side of the map. XU is doing the same thing on top side.
Map, going for a return gank here.
Yeah,
no flash.
remember, Thanatos still without that summoner spell. He knows there's no way out of this one. XU just playing the patient game, and they even give the kill over to Denethor. Nice work from Dig.
Gonna want to get Denethor fed here. You're not running around bot side, and being able to have a map split there, taking blue for blue, but then being able to get the successful gank is definitely advantage Dignitas here.
Yep, and another advantage here for Dig, when you're playing something like Skarner, just a big spongy ball of health, the Protoplasm Harness is so strong as a first purchase. This thing is cheap as dirt. The active on it is so powerful when it procs to just give you healing that will get you through a lot of situations where you'd otherwise be dead to rights.
Okay. If I can be at my blue, okay?
I don't have one bot.
I need to get 6 here, and then I'm going to base and come bot.
Yeah,
he's on blue, he's on blue.
Okay, we can actually look top one more time then.
Yeah, the ball looks like they're basing.
You cancel or you die?
I'm not 6
I
yet.
think better not to, no?
Can you look here?
Okay.
He has no flash.
Okay.
I cancel.
I'll get 6 off 1 minion if you kill one.
Guys, Renata based, okay?
Yeah, we're killing top. Top is dead.
Far
Top's
away,
dead.
he's far away yet. I'm basing here.
You got it? I'll hit him one more time.
Nice.
I like the calls from XU there, recognizing he's probably at my blue. Then as soon as you hear bottom lane confirm he's at the blue, they make the play on the other side of the map in response. Vulcan tries to get away from the crash down. Tactical, however, does still have to pull him to safety. Dignitas, with the pressure on the C9 duo, taking away one of the tools the Tactical and Vulcan could use to go aggressive.
And Blabber has a level advantage, but technically, Tactical's down the ultimate, and XU didn't spend anything, so we might see a scuffle here for these last 2 grubs.
Okay, Grubs, C9 picking up 1, Dig picking up 1, Blabber versus XU here with the pit. Nice, using the ulti coming in from Renata. XU stays alive with the Impale, but only for a moment. Cloud9 taking the kill on the enemy jungler. And that means they will earn themselves control over the last grub here as well, going up 2-1 in that count as Loki slithers after Palafox. He's already forced the flash away from the Anivia, and the Twin Fangs just pour damage onto the health bar.
That is a very poor fight for Dignitas and their overall state of the game. XU gets caught out, and then if we're talking about fights that Anivia can and can't take, that's not a zone Anivia wants to fight in. After the jungler's dead, in the river, completely alone, unable to section off the fight, Palafox has to burn his flash. But just watching the start of this one more time, like Tactical and Vulcan can just push FBI out of the fight entirely. That's a 2v4, actually, if you don't account for the curtain call, which is all hitting into Vulcan. Easy kill onto XU. And then pretty easy for Loki to then run down Palafox afterwards as well. So big advantage there gained by C9.
Yep, C9 loving that one. Little over a minute on the clock until we get to Dragon number 2. As XU's down here in the bottom side, walks right past the control ward, but Ignar also on the potential wraparound play. Tactical has both summoner spells available, ready to go here, does get stunned up. Vulcan doing a good job trying to block that deadly flourish. Tactical stays alive thanks to the bailout, and FBI, the gun spinning, but C9's winning. Beautiful timing there from Vulcan to keep his AD carry alive, bring him back from the grave. Nicely done. C9's up 2,500.
That's the combo. That's why you play Kalista Renata. You pop the bailout onto Tactical. The Rend Spears get to stay there, and then he can save his own life by taking theirs. So watching this, you know C9's trying to play for the outplay. Tactical doesn't step back into Ignar, buys a lot of time, tanks the W. Vulcan blocks Tactical, which buys time, and then really good timing on the bailout. Easy execute for Tactical, and then just the spacing at the very end here. Cheeky little Q at the end as well to get the next kill.
Great positioning there from Tactical.
Nice, guys.
Good shit.
I want
You
to
wanna go mid?
Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
go mid.
Good.
Flash.
Great foresight from Vulcan, knowing how long he needed to hold it, timing it exactly where it needed to be with that bailout. Honestly, very well played from the bottom lane duo of Cloud9. Happy to see it. And you know what? That's just going to earn them more control over the bottom half of the Rift. They will continue to run the show when it comes to neutral objectives. They will take Dragon number 2 with no contest. So they've won out 2 out of 3 grubs. They've got both of the early Drakes. There's still no Rift Herald to even speak of for another 4 minutes as Dignitas is looking to make a move up here from the top side. Thanatos is your target. Flash Frost follows the Impale for some chain CC, and Denethor goes in, committing the flash to guarantee they've got the damage to get the kill. Meanwhile, back over in mid lane, FBI will fall to a counterplay coming out from C9.
As long as Thanatos doesn't tilt, the team is in a good state, but he is getting heavily weak-sided this game. The map has been split against them. There were repeat ganks by Skarner early, then 4 people got sent to him, but while that was happening, his team killed the enemy AD carry, they killed bot lane, and they took mid plates. So C9 gets the advantage there, but Thanatos goes down once again.
Thanatos, your job this game, Thanatos is playing Helldivers. He airstrikes the team fight at the beginning, he's done. That's it. Everybody else, they're in the position to carry. Now Denethor's in a little bit of danger. Very nice Renata ulti flies through, hits 4 overall, but Tactical this time is not going to get bailed out. He didn't have the damage to kill off Denethor, so Dignitas gets a big punish. They'll knock down both bottom laners on C9, who are too far forward.
Oh yeah, they were really too far forward. Where did they think the opponent was going to be? I mean, they're that close to their base. C9 did not respect the tempo there, and Tactical and Vulcan just thought they were going to be superheroes. Let's watch this one more time. I mean, Blabber is taking the blue. He's dealing with Ignar, so he's going to win this smite. But they're flying in for this onto Denethor, and I guess everyone on Dig was on a reset, and it's a little bit fortunate that all 5 deploy bottom lane, but once they do, that's like a 5v3. So it's not even close. They collect the bounty from the Kalista and pick up an additional kill onto Vulcan.
I mean, the spot of the map that they're fighting at is really sick if you're not outnumbered 5-2. The hostile takeover hit like 4 targets. If there was anybody else around, that could have been the crazy play that they were dreaming of. But when you're 2v5, I mean, numbers mean a lot in League of Legends.
One of those things like, if their whole team wasn't there, it was a good play. But unfortunately, they were actually all there.
If we weren't walking into an ambush, this would have been sick.
It would have been so surprising to them.
If they weren't ambushing us, our ambush on them would have gone crazy. But unfortunately for C9, they do end up getting a little bit punished there. However, they still do command that 2 Drake lead with a 2,000 gold icing on that cake as Denethor barely staying alive for now. Does get a good knockaway, but the Twin Fangs ultimately find the kill. Dignitas now trying to fight out however they can. Ignar with a flash over the wall to stay alive, but XU won't be able to say the same. Even though he had that protoplasm harness, that's not going to matter. And now Vulcan will tank up the turret damage as Blabber goes on a killing spree. C9, 4,000 gold ahead. Chat, it's looking exactly like week 1 for Dignitas.
It absolutely is. Win 1 game to give Palafox Summer a short summer, and they're doing it again. 4,000 gold. This time, their ambush was correctly not counter-ambushed. It was an even number ambush, and they're able to win this one. Cassio just put up so much damage in that fight. Loki delivering the pain. They didn't even have Tactical or Thanatos there, and managed to pick up all 3 kills in the 3-for-3.
Yeah, this is starting to get pretty dire for the Dignitas boys. The only one that really has a chance to bring them back from the precipice of doom is Denethor. And C9 seems to be thinking the same thing, trying to make a play on that Jace, but now they've got to be careful. Reinforcements showing up from both sides here as Loki is going to see Ignar also jumping towards the fight. XU backing away now as Vulcan and Tactical are ready to join the mix. XU eating multiple Twin Fangs, again trying to disengage, has to flash for the extra little bit of distance. Hostile takeover. Tag 2. XU and Palafox in danger as the Flame Spitter is cooking the Skarner, and he will burn down. Thanatos gets the kill on that one as the curtain call opens up from FBI. Trying to find some valuable targets here. Fourth shot going to get saved, but it only finds Vulcan. Caught on the wrong side of the Crystallize, but there's no damage. Ready to follow it up. Ignar continuing to bluff that he might go forward, but C9 knows there's nothing left in the Dignitas tank, so C9 will walk away 1-0.
Long fight, but again, XU falls. He's now 5 of the 6 deaths for Dignitas in this one. Even with the Protoplasm Harness, they can kind of just run him down. So potentially fortunate they didn't lose more at the start of this play. You can see Blabber just getting a lot of damage down onto Denethor, and it's just a slow trickle of everyone flying into this fight, but XU can't land anything with his E, and then is kind of stuck in the fight. And now is where C9 just starts running him down. Tactical up on the top side, does a little bit of a 1v1 with the Jhin, trying to find a flank angle that's getting blocked. Finally, though, the hostile takeover catches XU, and the Liandry's burn is what finishes XU off.
Yeah, adios, Mr. Skarner. Thanatos getting a little bit of revenge for all that attention that he was given during the laning phase of the game. But 16 minutes on the clock means Dragon number 3 is live. C9 have controlled the first 2, and XU is going to start off the third, but Dignitas do not want to commit to this.
Yeah, got a little confused. XU's not 5 of the 6 deaths. He's 5 of the 11 deaths. C9 has 11 kills. That changes
still,
the context.
That's still half of them, though.
It's still a lot of deaths.
It's definitely not the best game here from XU in this third one of the series, but Dignitas still having control over the Drake right now. Blabber thinking about using the Ball Breaker to jump on in, but no, the Drake is already secured by XU. Dignitas got the objective and disengaged with no losses. They'll be happy.
I mean, that was really nice by Palafox. Wall, alt, hold it for 4 seconds. Drake's gone, run away. They're going to lose a few plates mid, but from a 4,000 gold deficit to not let C9 in, big win.
Yeah, I think that's honestly huge, and that's kind of what you were talking about earlier. The team has to know how to play around the Anivia. If Palafox says we're drawing the line here, this is, if they come up, don't engage them, we're just keeping them away, that's good.
Yeah, the bad example is he throws that up and then Ignar's like, I see an angle.
I will go over the wall.
Flies in from the side. Didn't happen there, all good.
Red Rover, we tear Ignar over. Luckily, he didn't feel the call of the void on that one. So Dignitas will, they'll stop the potential soul threat here, but they do have bigger problems on their plate right now. A 5,000 gold lead. Last game, remember, I mentioned around 19 minutes in. Yeah, it's a 1,500 gold lead for C9, but that doesn't mean a whole lot at 19 minutes. 5K at 17 is significantly more worrying, because everybody then, on average, has at least one more decent-sized component item over their counterpart. XU is going to be forced away from the Herald Pit. It's another game with a pretty late Herald take overall, but C9 still just fine with it. They secure it without a real contest from Dignitas. Everybody on C9 except for Thanatos is ahead over 1,000 gold, and that includes Vulcan over Ignar. Denethor's Jace remains the only point of power for Dignitas. So I feel like the recipe for Dig, any fight must start with at least 2 accelerated shock blasts hitting valuable targets, or there's just no way to win.
Yeah, it seems like it, or just a big numbers advantage. But right now, C9 is trying to move around the map, collect as much gold as possible with all the strong people. Like, if Thanatos can neutralize Denethor with how far behind Thanatos has been put in this game, it's actually even more than a 5K gold lead in the 4v4. It will be a 7K gold lead in those 4v4. Nice wall, though, by Palafox.
Good use of the Crystallize to make it so the Herald couldn't get all the way away. Loki does survive, but he had to spend his flash to do it, so at least you'll get the Summoner spell out of the otherwise immobile Cassiopeia. Yes, Loki is pretty hard to kill through Seraph's Shield and all of the stats on Mod of Ages, but without having that flash, you at least can see the angle to make a play.
Yeah, and I gotta say that this game isn't a freebie for C9. I think Dignitas denying that soul point can be pretty important, because as far ahead as C9 is, they don't have like great tools to win the game unless they can find fights like this. This could be huge.
Okay, Thanatos is teleported in. Blabber goes for the Vault Breaker flash onto Denethor. There's your Fed Jace. Blink and you'll miss it. He's gone. Thanatos taking that kill as Ignar will be the next to go. The only silver lining here for Dig is that at least it's 19:30 on the clock and not 20 minutes into the game, so C9 cannot immediately go for the Baron right after. But yeah, Dignitas caught unawares on that one, and C9 just get 2 for nothing.
Man, I'm still just, now that I've done the research on bounties, I see how little supports are worth when they're dying. But watching this play happen one more time, the Anivia shows at the top side, teleport, flank in from the Rumble as Blabber arrives. Really nice of them to give something back to Thanatos, as Thanatos is actually dead now.
Yeah, Dignitas just gave something back to Thanatos as Loki gets caught by the Impale, but there's no follow-up damage here from Palafox. His egg gets scrambled as Blabber's looking to burst him down. XU with the slam into the wall, and the damage from FBI from downtown. Shut down as the 4th shot rains in. That's 3 dead on C9. Dignitas didn't lose a man. Now they got 5v3, only Vulcan and Tactical alive. Dignitas, they might just be going for the Baron. They're down far enough. You got to take every chance you get to get back into the game. Palafox zoning their opponents away for now, but it looks like Dignitas aren't going to start it.
Yeah, I don't mind this actually. Baron hits really hard, is worth less than ever, and maybe just take the tempo, get your items, and live to fight another day, because Soul Point is again up in 40 seconds, and the team fight can actually be close now. The gold is closed to 3,000 after they collected all those juicy kills and bounties from Blabber and Loki. That was a very important fight for Dignitas in their attempt to crawl back in this game.
Okay, Dig brought it back down to 3K. It was 6,000.
Yeah.
After the initial play from C9 in the top side where they got those 2 unanswered kills, it did hit 6.0 on the gold difference at the top of your screen there. So Dignitas cutting that down to half. Far more manageable situation. C9 starting up the Baron, though. Knowing that this wouldn't be Soul if they get it, they're saying, all right, Dig, if you want to take Drake too, fine, screw it, we'll take Baron.
Kind of risky here. I mean, if Dignitas push them off, that then gives Dignitas inside track on the next Drake, and they just kind of walk there, and C9 has to stop. Now Dignitas has mid-prio. Let's see how well they can control these zones with Palafox's Anivia. If he can just stop them from walking in or get a pick. Oh, he gets hit!
Yeah, that's a lot of damage on Palafox, and he's already dead. Now XU's about to follow Dignitas right when it looked like they were in a decent spot. It all goes to hell, and the fire is hot. Dignitas lose 4.
Remember when I said a lot of times the mid laner can know how to play Anivia, but the team needs to play around it? This is one of those cases where you got to play the Anivia better. Yep. He steps straight up. He's so tunneled on the pick to get Vulcan. Vulcan then, former Spring Split, actually Spring Split MVP right here, does land the pick onto Palafox, but Palafox is way in front. You don't need to do this. They can just play in the river, prevent them from walking in. He doesn't have egg either. They get one shot. Then Tactical can just take over the fight on the back end. Blabber can full send it with Loki. They have so much damage once the person who's going to stop them from diving is dead. So now it's back. It's back to 7.
Yeah, this is the slingshot giveth. But the thing is, when you pull that thing back, eventually the rock goes flying the other direction. And now Palafox, the handshake just brings him into his own doom. Denethor, he flashes, he escapes, but with Palafox already dead, C9 once more has the green light. Just like you said, Jat, when the you can't engage champ is dead, guess what you can do? You
Kill
can
them
engage.
All. They all dead.
And XU is going to be a very scorpion-shaped pincushion right about now. Tactical gets the kill on that one. So C9 still with Baron, pushing up even further. Yeah, Vulcan's low. He will not die to that shock blast as Blabber goes all the way in with a cease and desist. Denethor dies, FBI follows, Petrifying Gaze isn't even needed. Now, yeah, you're going to have Palafox alive here in 10 seconds. You're going to have Ignar right beside him, but neither one of them will be able to punish Loki, who with his accelerated empowered recall just goes ahead, heads on back to base. Tactical's going to take the bottom lane tier 2 turret. It's a 10,000 gold lead for C9.
He's snowballed. He's got the full build Callista right there, Static Shiv, Ginsu's, and then the tankiness, Jack Show. So he is flying through these team fights. Blabber just full sending it, and Loki having his best game of the series. That was an insane dive they pulled off at the end there. You can tell they're brimming with confidence. Even after some missteps, they had some of those missteps in the top lane, but they're back on track now.
It's looking like the 9-year streak will continue here for C9.
Perhaps.
Perhaps. You know, Soul Point with an 11,000 gold lead. One could fathom the outcome that C9 walks away victorious here. Dignitas quickly running out of options, and unfortunately, that one yellow bar on the scoreboard, that one advantage that Denethor had has now been erased. Even Thanatos ahead of his counterpart as XU has to continue his retreat here. Yeah, he's got Kanik Rooker and he's got Protoplasm Harness, but he doesn't have much of a chance if C9 Focus fires him as they continue their push forward. QSS purchased for Tactical on the Kalista alongside that Jack show you already mentioned. Just makes him so damn hard to kill. As now C9 going all the way in. Blabber deep into the back line there with the cease and desist as Palafox brings Blabber into a compromised spot, but the rest of C9 is so strong, they will just force their way into the enemy base. The curtain call may have opened up, but it's not finding much of a target here. Fourth shot being saved all the way to the end. Yes, it hits Loki, but it's not going to threaten anything lethal as C9 force their way through the top lane. They'll find that top inhibitor first and back themselves away right after, not losing a single man.
One inhibitor down. Vulcan's had a great Renata game as well, I gotta say. If we think back to the game-swinging fights, it's really been Vulcan landing crucial handshakes or having the perfect timing on his bailout.
I mean, I voted Vulcan player of the game in game number 2 because he got that critical hook onto the Akali right before the Dragon Soul, and I feel like that was the game-winning play. The way that this one is going, if the Nexus popped right now, I would vote Vulcan again. I just feel like his playmaking on these champions that are meant to make plays is so impressive. And he also had a lot of pressure with the Camille in game number 1. He wasn't the one pressing Realm Warp, so I'm not going to blame him for the outcome of that game. I think that Vulcan has had a very impressive series overall. 12,000 gold lead for the team. C9, all they got to do is make sure they wrap this one up clean.
And the crazy thing about Vulcan is he's been doing it for so long. We heard from Leo, our stats guy, that he's pretty close to passing Aphromoo for leader in all-time LCS assists. So that's probably going to happen this split if he keeps it up.
Well, Blabber's immediately leading the charge here. However, he may have gone a little bit too far. Resurrection will come through as the Guardian Angel is required. Everybody on Dignitas just camping the corpse, making sure that Blabber can't get out. And right there, it was shades of game 1, kind of just C9 getting overzealous, Blabber flying in there without the proper coordination from the rest of the team. So that's at least going to slam the brakes and the push for now. But by the time Blabber's back alive, Jat, we're only going to have about 45 seconds on the clock until the Baron spawns.
True.
So I feel like we're going to see teams setting up for that. You can see the Scuttle Crab already secured by C9.
I'm in all range, Netos.
Yeah, I know. I'm here. I'm ready to go.
I'm gonna
I'll take Skarner.
Oh my god.
Don't be too cocky here, guys. It's kind of dog shit. I think it's not good.
Can you guys take tower?
Take turret a bit.
Okay.
Hit tower a bit.
Yeah. Carol.
Give him
I ulted the wrong guy. Okay. Sounds
good. Sounds good. At least you have a small shutdown this time.
Yeah,
Don't be too cocky here, guys. It's kind of dog shit. That is...
kind of.
Honestly... You know what? They said it, not me. I'm just going to say I concur with the pros.
I do realize the more we hear from Vulcan, he's like the #1, like really passive-aggressive flame. Like, well, at least it's a small bounty this time. Because last time it was a big bounty. You
didn't give him 1,000 gold.
And remember the 9-year streak of Dignitas not beating C9 in a best of 3. This is why you have to say perhaps it will not continue. Because of things like that from Blabber. Come on, man.
Okay, we've shrank the gold lead from 12K down to 11. It's the basketball poster. He hits a sick 3 to shrink the lead down to 45 or whatever that was. All right, let's see. C9, they're on the Baron. Got it down to about half. Remember, they got Kalista. There's no world where XU should be able to steal this away as long as Tactical and Blabber are coordinated. Curtain call opens up. FBI shooting a couple shots over the wall. Baron secured by Tactical and C9. XU is stuck in the pit for now. We'll take a little bit of damage, but Blabber being low with no Guardian Angel, he doesn't want to overcommit onto just a Skarner. The Dragon is going to spawn here in about 10 seconds. That is Mountain Soul. Meanwhile, the Wrecking Crew is doing some home renovations up in the top lane, and Dignitas didn't sign off on it. Those turrets are under a lot of pressure here at the Nexus, and it's FBI takes the recall. That means Dignitas are not interested in contesting the Mountain Soul, so that goes over to C9 for free.
He just can't make it. Denethor landed some good poke, but everyone on Dignitas had to reset, so C9 gets to get everything. Baron plus Soul plus a death cap onto Loki. Is this... sneakily a tank Callista, man. 159 armor, 136 MR with the QSS and the Jack Show. It's going to be increasing throughout the team fight. Thanks to the Jack Show passive.
Jack Show is kind of like one of those staple, like, you know, you always go like Ginsu's static on Callista early. You get your 2 like damage items. But then I feel like Jack Show third I actually see so commonly, and it makes this character so obnoxious because she's already so mobile, you can get so much damage. And I think it's also why you have to play so aggressively early, because if you're behind and you're building a tank item to try to do it, it just doesn't feel that great. But from ahead, this can make tactical very difficult to deal with. C9, they've already got that inhibitor down there in the top side. It's going to respawn in about 10 seconds. But the problem for Dig is, as soon as the top lane inhibitor respawns, the mid lane inhibitor is going to die, and then C9 might just walk it up to top side. The Dignitas defense needs to hold strong here. A little bit of damage into Vulcan, takes him down to about half HP. Thanatos pressuring the bottom lane here, and as Thanatos' pressure approaches the inhibitor turret, that means that Dignitas can't respond in mid. That inhibitor falls, and C9 looks towards the newly respawned top inhib.
Probably going to be a double inhib here, but you can still see, even with a 12,000 gold lead, it's kind of difficult to push into an Anivia, even if the Anivia isn't that far ahead herself. Getting some decent poke down, but they're going to be getting this inhibitor. We'll see how aggressive they get.
Inhib already gone. Blabber under a little bit of pressure here. First 2 shots already missed. Equalizer dropped on FBI's head, means the curtain call is canceled, and the handshake drags Ignar back out of the air mid-crash down. Dignitas having to heal up. Everybody chunked a little bit low as the minion waves from C9 barreling in through both top and the mid lane. Bottom lane also stacking up as C9 will have the resources to take out the last remaining inhibitor turret if that's what they want to do, but the Nexus turrets are already even lower. Tactical going to be focused here early on, but he hops right back over the crystallized wall. First Nexus turret already dead. Second one barely hanging on. Vulcan here on the front line. Vulcan mostly unperturbed as Dignitas continue to scramble, but they're not finding anything. Ignar wanted to make a move, but the Twin Fangs kill him off. XU gets a slam into the turret, ruins onto Loki. XU hanging on for now, but Dignitas, his carries are already down. Denethor knocked over, and there's nothing left for FBI and XU. A double kill for Blabber. C9's going to clean it up nice and easy. 28-11, 16,000 gold lead. C9 takes down Dig for a continuing 9-year streak.